Chapter 35:07. When Team Leader Tu and Xiao Lu received Su Yun's summons, they naturally rushed over without stopping. Chen Wei even personally sent them to the high-speed train. The case needed help now, and Su Yun had a breakthrough. Obviously, there were many breakthroughs in Qingdao as well. Chen Wei found out a lot of things from the people he caught. This group of people had 3 drug stashes on Qingdao alone, and the amount of drugs they brought into Qingdao was enough to kill each of them several times over. As for Huang Jiang, one of Triangle Eye's right-hand men, also knew a little about the situation. This guy had a code name, Doji. Perhaps he was used to being called that, so when he was asked for his name during the interrogation, his answer was always Doji. Little Bean Chicken had been with Triangle Eyes for a long time. It could be said that when Triangle Eyes first came back from overseas, he brought Little Bean Chicken with him. He probably liked Little Bean Chicken's strength. Although it was a bean, it had the ferocity of a fighting rooster. Once it became ferocious, it wouldn't give up until it fought to the death. Triangle Eyes knew very well that if he wanted to make a name for himself, he really needed such a person by his side. Without such a person, he definitely wouldn't be able to go far. Doji was the guy who could take care of things the most. In terms of taking care of things, this guy was very good. Chen Wei used the method Su Yun taught him to split Doji's legs almost 180 degrees, but this guy still gritted his teeth and didn't want to confess. On a cold day, he was in so much pain that he was sweating profusely. He wasn't an ordinary guy to be able to withstand it. Unfortunately, he wasn't a hero. He was just a stubborn bastard. Chen Wei was also angry. He asked someone to pour cold water on Doji and aimed the electric fan at him. Just like that, he poured water on Doji and blew on him at the same time. After one night, Doji was unconscious from the fever. If someone didn't come in time to give him an antipyretic injection, Doji would probably be crippled after tonight. He wouldn't die, but he would be burned until he became an idiot. Little Bean Chicken had finally made it through. He thought that the police couldn't do anything to him. He didn't expect Chen Wei to get someone to bring him cold water again. If he didn't talk, he would continue playing. If he continued to play like this, he would be crippled. Doji knew that he wouldn't be able to leave any evidence of physical harm. After all, anyone could catch a cold and have a fever. Even if he used this point, he wouldn't be able to sue anyone. Moreover, he was a drug dealer. Why would he sue him? In the end, in order to avoid being tortured again, Doji finally told them everything he needed to tell them in Guqin Island. As for Huang Jiang, he didn't say a word in the beginning. But when Chen Wei asked him about it, he tried to be stubborn at first. But when he saw the cold water and the fan that could silently torture him half to death, he couldn't help but shudder. Chen Wei told him that the water would not be splashed on him anymore. Hearing this, Doji seemed to be less afraid. But Chen Wei continued to say that the water was for him to drink. If he didn't explain everything clearly, he would have to drink it. Although this method was cruel and against humanity, it wasn't too much to deal with such a shameless criminal. This group of bastards deserved to be severely punished in this way. In fact, this kind of criminal law that affected the respiratory and digestive tracts of the human body was a relatively common method of torture in modern times. Of course, the police generally wouldn't torture people in this way. Chen Wei was just using these words to threaten him. After all, the situation now was different. Bean Chicken had already been pranked once, and he was afraid in his heart. So Chen Wei mainly wanted to scare him. But this method was used correctly. Although Little Bean Chicken had never experienced this kind of punishment, he had seen it before. Once, he went to the Golden Triangle with Triangle Eyes to meet a big boss. The big boss was punishing a subordinate who betrayed him behind his back. He used water torture. At that time, the guy was tied to a bench on his back. His head was tilted back, and then he was forced to drink water. The method of torture wasn't particularly complicated. It could also cause great pain to the victim. More importantly, the torturer didn't use any effort at all. Therefore, this was a very common method in those illegal torture methods. Little Bean Chicken had seen the scene of the digestive tract being filled with water. That was to force the water directly into the mouth. Because of the large amount of water, the traitor's stomach was completely swollen. When the stomach was about to explode, someone stood up and used force to squeeze it. The water that was poured in spurted out from the traitor's mouth and anus at the same time. The great pain was simply unbearable for anyone who saw it. And in order to make it easier to pour water, the traitor's nose was first blocked with a wet cloth and other things, forcing the guy to open his mouth to breathe. An iron ruler was used to force the traitor's teeth to pry open his mouth. Without saying anything, a funnel was inserted into the traitor's mouth. Anyway, after the traitor's stomach was repeatedly filled with water and squeezed, there was serious dysfunction. Even if he didn't die at that time, he probably wouldn't live long in the future. So this was simply a cruel and perverted torture. If it still existed in this world today, it would be a kind of irony to mankind. Of course, Chen Wei wasn't that perverted, but he didn't expect his unintentional threat to hit Do Ji's weak spot. Do Ji knew what kind of repercussions this kind of punishment would bring. In the end, he had no choice but to admit defeat. Facing all of Chen Wei's questions, as long as he knew, he answered all of them. Of course, what he knew was also very limited. Regarding the Yellow River, Little Bean Chicken said that he only went with his boss once, and it was at night. At that time, he didn't know who did the deal with, and it was impossible for him to see the other party's boss. He only knew that they met at a car repair shop. After that, he had been waiting at the car repair shop. He didn't go anywhere. His boss was taken away to do the deal. After he came back, they took the goods and left the car repair shop. When Chen Wei asked him the name of the car repair shop, Little Bean Chicken really couldn't remember. However, he described the car repair shop's entrance. This was probably the only thing he could do. Chen Wei had a very clear understanding of the psychology of criminals, so he believed everything that Little Bean Chicken said. Looking at his current state, he knew that Little Bean Chicken didn't dare to lie. Little Bean Chicken said everything he knew. If he didn't know anything, it would be meaningless to force him. Chen Wei asked Team Leader 2 to pass the situation here to Su Yun. Because he couldn't get any key questions from Su Yun, Chen Wei felt very apologetic. Fortunately, Su Yun's personal ability was strong enough, so he was able to get enough information in Yellow River. Based on the information that Su Yun had now, it was far more than what Chen Wei had obtained through the interrogation here. Team Leader 2 and Little Lu couldn't wait along the way. They couldn't wait to fly over. If it wasn't for the fact that they had to wait for a flight and transfer midway, they would have already flown over. Fortunately, the speed of the high-speed railway wasn't slow. Although there were stops along the way, the speed was still acceptable. Although the journey took a long time, Team Leader 2 and Little Lu couldn't sleep at all. They were too excited. Brother 2, Boss Su asked us to do this. It's obvious that he's biased towards us. Little Lu was elated. He said with a smile, if we catch that bastard, we'll make a great contribution. Haha, you'll definitely be promoted next year, Brother 2. We don't do this for promotion, Team Leader 2 said. We're policemen. We do things with a clear conscience. We do what we should do. And Little Lu nodded. Brother 2, you're right. I won't think about promotion in the future. If you're living for those false reputations, you should walk the same path as those people. Team Leader 2 smiled. If you walk the same path as us, you won't get so many promotion opportunities. Our life is to do things. We're not made to be leaders. Although Little Lu also wanted to do things well, he wasn't as open-minded as Team Leader Tuesday. He also hoped that he could get a promotion opportunity. For a young man like him, making a contribution at this time would definitely be beneficial for his future. Chapter 3508. Before the high-speed train was about to arrive at the station, Xiao Lu booked a private car on his phone in advance. Although he only called the car after increasing the price, it saved them a lot of time. After all, there was still some distance from Huangjiang, and the sky was still dark. If they called a taxi, they might be refused. The two got into the car and went straight to Huangjiang. The driver smiled and asked them what they were doing here. He also told them that Huangjiang was not fun and was far worse than Dongguan. Didn't Dongguan take off its little yellow hat after the crackdown? Xiao Lu said, Why? Is it reviving now? It's unlikely to revive. I just said that compared to Huangjiang, Dongguan is definitely better. The driver said, Compared to before, we earn at least 200 yuan a day. There were more people in the past. They worked almost non-stop every day. After the crackdown, where did those people go to work? Team Leader 2 also asked curiously. After all, he saw the news report that there were 300,000 service workers in this industry. This was a quite terrifying number. Generally speaking, the county-level cities in Huaxia only had a few 100,000 people. Zhujiang, Fujian. Which city in the country doesn't have a brothel? The driver said, Because of the crackdown now, business in this place is not good. Many people will definitely leave. It is said that the market price in Fujian and Zhujiang is much higher than here. It's just that the rules are not as good as here, and the guests are not so well behaved. There are rules here? Xiao Lu's eyes widened. Are you kidding me? The driver said righteously, Of course there are rules. We have always been famous for our rules here. Whether it is the service workers or the guests, there are rules. If the service workers don't follow the rules, the guests can complain. But if the guests do something beyond the service scope or act out of line, the service workers will also press the room alarm light. The security guards will intervene immediately. So many girls like to work here for their own protection. Xiao Lu rolled his eyes. Such a dirty thing has been made fresh and refined by you here. You guys are late. You could have enjoyed the wand service before. The driver said, Many people say that there are some places that you can't miss out on when you visit them, such as Yanjing's Great Wall and Tiananmen Square, Qiufu's Confucius Mansion and Confucius Temple, Suzhou and Zhujiang's landscape, etc. There are also some places that have delicious food that you can't refuse. If you don't eat hot pot in Sichuan, if you don't eat pig-slaughtered vegetables in northeast China, and if you don't eat mutton skewers in Tibet, it would definitely be a pity. It would be a pity if you don't enjoy our service. I think you're regretful too. Team Leader 2 glanced at the driver. The driver smiled. I'm just feeling sorry for you. It's a pity that you don't have one now. It's too strict. Usually, no one dares to do business with strangers. Outsiders won't be able to find it here, but it's much easier through us. I don't think you're just here to run a car. You're also here to pull some pila? Xiao Lu glared and said, We're not interested in that. Don't waste your breath. 1,000 years ago, Li Shishir was the representative of the high-class ladies who sang and danced. 1,000 years later, it's the era of mass sales and extreme stimulation represented by the nameless technician. The driver said, This thing has never stopped since ancient times. It's rare to see people like the two of you. Team Leader 2 smiled. The crackdown is still too light. If it's carried out nationwide, the effect will be obvious. I think it's good to turn a blind eye to it. The driver did not think so. The current situation is not bad. If you lack money, you can use all your strength. If you don't have enough money, you can also relax a little. If the whole country is tightly controlled, the management will definitely be fine. But I guarantee that the crime rate will increase. No one dares to deny this. Team Leader 2, as a member of the police force, can't deny this problem. Indeed, in a sense, this industry has indeed reduced the crime rate to a certain extent. After all, it's worth it to spend a little money to avoid jail. If there were no such places, some people with no self-control would go to extremes. Today's society is different from before. Many things have changed from a cultural perspective. Although the internet has always been severely restricted, there are still many eye-catching web pages and images that pop up casually. Another thing is the popularity of live streaming. If you are a woman, you have to show some cleavage. If you are a rich person, as long as you give enough money, you can ask them out to play. What has this become? There are many things that everyone knows. No one will throw money away for no reason. If they don't get something, who would be stupid enough to burn money like paper? Team Leader 2 met a female streamer in a case. She was quite famous and earned a lot of money. But because she made friends, she accidentally fell into the abyss of drugs. At that time, Team Leader 2 asked her why those so-called rich people could give her gifts. The streamer said that, of course, she needed to pay something. Any rich person who gave a certain number of gifts will request to meet offline. If you don't agree, they will not continue to spend money to give you gifts. This kind of rich person is too important for streamers. After all, they rely on their performance to make a living. The website also has requirements for performance. The leader said that this kind of rich customer must be caught. Everyone knows how much more money they can get in a month. So naturally, it becomes something that many streamers have to do. What is the ultimate purpose of this kind of meeting that is bought with money? Other than having sex, there can't be any other purpose. Don't talk about making friends. That's nonsense. Making friends is about the heart. This kind of involving money and benefits is about making friends. No one is a fool. Now, this kind of mental pollution was far more serious than the physical pollution to people. Young people were ruined by mental pollution. Compared to catching this kind of thing, catching mental pollution is more important. The driver left after sending the two to their destination. Team Leader 2 and Xiao Lu quickly found the room according to the address Su Yun gave them. At this time, Su Yun and the others just woke up. They immediately ate breakfast together. After the soldier knew that the two of them were police, he felt more confident. Su Yun explained the general situation to Team Leader 2 and Xiao Lu. He also explained their identities. The two of them were more clear about their positions. Due to the fact that the two of them were dressed too formally, it was obvious that they were the kind of people who worked in the office and not the society. Su Yun even specially asked the infantry to pick out 2 sets of clothes for the two of them. At least in terms of dressing, they looked more like people from the society. As long as they dressed casually, it would be fine. Compared to the formal pants and formal shoes, the two of them instantly changed their style. Brother 2, I think I really like this style. Xiao Lu was very satisfied with the clothes. Actually, with the nature of your work, it is better to dress like this in the future. Su Yun, you should dress like this. Xiao Lu smiled. Brother 2 will definitely say that we are too informal. This is an old-fashioned way of thinking. Su Yun glanced at Brother 2's. Brother 2 nodded. Yes, it seems like I should change this old-fashioned way of thinking. Boss Su is right. We are more suited to dress like this. We look more like people from society. After a while, ask the soldier to make an appointment with Big Head. Then, you will go to the assembly factory to meet Big Head. Remember not to talk too much. Su Yun, I am worried that they will be too vigilant. Your words will sound like they are warning you, and it will easily arouse their suspicion. We understand. Team Leader 2 nodded. Don't worry about this, we are just the little brothers who will pick up the car. We will leave after picking up the car. Remember to go straight to the highway after picking up the car. I will wait for you at the first service area after you get on the highway. Then, park the car there and I will bring you back. Su Yun, there is one more thing, I don't know if you have a solution. Go ahead. Team Leader 2 looked at Su Yun seriously. If drugs were hidden in the car, there will definitely be a residual smell. How can we determine this? Su Yun, do you have a better way? The best way is to find a drug-sniffing dog, Team Leader 2 said. This is probably the only way. Team Leader 2 said, I'm afraid that's the only way. Other than the sniffer dog, no one can judge by smell. Okay, I understand. Su Yun nodded. Chapter 3509. After Team Leader 2 mentioned the sniffer dog, a person immediately appeared in Su Yun's mind, Huazi. Not long ago, when he was in the Border Anti-Drug Brigade, Su Yun saw Huazi's dog. At that time, because of the animal head incident, they didn't talk much about the dog. Su Yun just casually asked about the dog, and Huazi said that it was an injured and retired sniffer dog. This sniffer dog was called Blackhead. This name was a bit too casual. However, this dog really lived up to its name. Generally speaking, Belgian Malinois had a black face and a black neck. However, the blackhead was a little different from other Belgian Malinois. Its entire head was black, and the fur on its body was particularly golden and shiny. In contrast, the entire dog's head was darker, and it was called the blackhead. Although Blackhead's name wasn't that domineering, it had done a lot of tasks well. It had made a lot of contributions. Huazi said a sentence with a bit of sarcasm. Although Blackhead is retired now, it is still better than some people. This was really not an exaggeration. Blackhead was indeed better than some people. Even now, it had retired to the second line like Huazi. Blackhead's food and drink were definitely on the level of royalty compared to ordinary dogs. However, it was destined to be lonely in its life. Blackhead was loyal by nature and had a keen sense of smell. Everyone in the anti-drug brigade knew it. It was definitely a star. Why was Blackhead lonely? It was because Blackhead, who was chosen to work in the anti-drug brigade, had to be a serious single dog. Because of the heavy responsibility, it had a rule that it couldn't fall in love. All the sniffer dogs in the anti-drug brigade were male dogs. There was no female dog. Because once it fell in love with a female friend, it would be scattered and there was no way to work properly. The price was really heavy, but Blackhead also enjoyed the treatment of a civil servant after retirement. To put it bluntly, the black-headed man deserved to be treated as a civil servant more than most people. After all, he had done more than 99% of the civil servants. Moreover, he was absolutely clean and righteous. He had not even eaten a single piece of ham sausage from the people. Just based on this point, which civil servant would dare to guarantee? But Hazy dared to say that he absolutely did not. His training since young had taught him to never eat anything outside. Hazy ate one meal a day, and it was large in quantity and good in quality. It was all for the sake of working hard and not being tempted by any delicious food outside. To put it bluntly, Kuriko wouldn't even frown if the world's top chef placed Kobe steak in front of him. This was the self-cultivation of a sniffer dog. It would never be tempted by anyone or be attracted by any desire. This was something that 99.9% of people could not do. Su Yun gave Huazi a call. After all, the two places were not far from each other, and the flights were more flexible. It only took Huazi 2 or 3 hours to get here. Huazi immediately agreed to Su Yun's request. He immediately asked for leave and explained the situation to the team. He wanted to bring Blackhead to help. The team was a little hesitant at first, but seeing Huazi's determination, they didn't stop him. They arranged for someone to send Huazi and Blackhead to the airport. Huazi was very excited about this mission, but Blackhead seemed to be even more excited than Huazi. This was an opportunity that he had been waiting for a long time. After Huazi and Blackhead got on the plane and left, the anti-drug team was actually quite worried. Because they didn't know if Blackhead still had this ability. Because just a year ago, Blackhead was injured. It was a respiratory injury. This kind of injury was fatal for a sniffer dog. It was also at that time that Blackhead retired. At that time, everyone could see that Blackhead was not reconciled. Normally, sniffer dogs retired when they were 8 years old, and Blackhead was only 7 years old now. Before coming, Huazi made a big meal for Blackhead and told him, "Brother, this time it's all up to you." Blackhead was a smart and very human-like dog. He immediately gave Huazi a confident answer with his loud bark. After Huazi and Blackhead arrived, Su Yun directly drove to pick them up. He also told the infantry that they were going to meet Big Head at lunchtime to pick up the car. This time was calculated. It was enough for the people of Shenzhen to arrive at the slowest speed. After Su Yun picked up Huazi and Blackhead, he directly took Huazi to find a place to eat. After all, the infantry would definitely be treated by Big Head, and Cho Yun had to keep an eye on Triangle Eyes before lunchtime. The two found a place to eat casually. Blackhead naturally didn't taste anything. He just stuck out his tongue and quietly looked at Su Yun. "He's not a bad guy. You don't have to be so vigilant." Huazi said to Blackhead, "We're all brothers." Blackhead still didn't give up staring at Su Yun. Su Yun smiled slightly. "Actually, he's not vigilant against me. He has a good impression of me. You can see that. Huazi was stunned for a moment. How do you know that he has a good impression of you? Blackhead has received professional training. He will always maintain a vigilant attitude towards outsiders. Because I don't have the smell of a bad guy, Su Yun said. Huazi shook his head. Don't be narcissistic about this. Blackhead already started to prepare for training when he was 2 months old. He has to sniff anything that has the smell of drugs. He started from a small puppy to a training dog. Finally, after a strict examination, he can become a working dog. Su Yun smiled. Compared to Blackhead, the guys in the army don't recognize people. Blackhead is much more obedient than the military dogs in our brigade. That's true. After all, Blackhead's training is different from the training of the fierce guys in your army. Huazi smiled and patted Blackhead's head. Did you hear that? I'm praising you. Blackhead stuck out his tongue and laughed twice. It seemed to be a response. Blackhead is very powerful. Don't underestimate him. Huazi continued, although he might not be able to defeat the fierce beasts in your army, he has the ability to recognize 7 types of drugs. However, he isn't as lucky as the dogs in your army. He hasn't had much interaction with people since he was young because he was afraid of being spoiled. After saying this, Huazi's mood became bad. Detection dogs really made people's hearts ache. Huazi was very clear that he was very familiar with Blackhead. Blackhead had been retired for a year, but he still didn't have that kind of intimacy with him. This was how he was raised since he was young. It seemed that other than bathing, Huazi could feel intimacy with Blackhead. At other times, he didn't feel it. Brother Huazi, what's wrong? Su Yun asked. Huazi shook his head. Nothing. I just feel wrong for them. They are all great heroes, but... Sigh, let's not talk about Wang Coco, who was the best dog in her life. Even a normal dog has a lifespan of at least 15 years. They are different. A drug sniffer dog that can live for 10 years is considered a long lifespan. Some of them didn't even wait until they were retired. Su Yun was shocked. A detection dog's lifespan was half of a normal dog's. One could imagine how much damage it was to their bodies to participate in the detection of drugs. In addition, they also had to worry about the revenge of evil people. Many drug dealers wanted to kill them for millions of dollars because they were the most conscientious and diligent. They were also the most invulnerable and impossible to buy. Today, you found Blackhead. The problem you wanted to solve is completely solved. Huazi retracted his somewhat dim gaze. Blackhead has been raised to persevere in finding targets since he was young. Until now, there isn't any technology or equipment that can surpass the sensitivity of Blackhead's detection dog's sense of smell. He has already formed a deep-rooted hunting habit. I believe him. Su Yun smiled slightly. How old is Blackhead this year? 7 years old. Su Yun was shocked again. Then he is quite lucky to be able to retire early. At least his body will suffer less damage. Actually, he doesn't want to retire. Huazi smiled bitterly and shook his head. For Blackhead, retirement is a very difficult thing to accept. Blackhead is actually very afraid of retiring because he really loves his job. But his respiratory tract is injured, so he has to. Then is he really okay now? Su Yun asked casually. This was definitely an unintentional action. Hearing this, Blackhead suddenly whimpered and made a provocative sound to Su Yun. What does this mean? Su Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This guy seemed to understand his words. You don't trust him. Of course he is unhappy. Huazi couldn't help but laugh. Su Yun hurriedly said, I'm sorry, Blackhead. I believe you can help me complete the task. After saying this, Su Yun reached out and patted Blackhead's head. Blackhead was very obedient and didn't dodge. This made Huazi feel a little surprised and surprised. Chapter 35:10. It seemed that Blackhead's first impression of Su Yun was quite good. This also made Su Yun very happy. He thought, this guy is really a donkey. He is obedient when he says good things. Blackhead, This task is really very important to me, so I really need your help. Su-yun said seriously to Blackhead. He believed that Blackhead, as a smart sniffer dog, would be able to understand his words. Sure enough, Blackhead, who was sitting down, suddenly stood up, which surprised Hwazi once again. You are good. You just met Blackhead for the first time and you already took him down. Hwazi said, You don't know. This guy used to be very powerful. When I first met him, he ignored me. It took him at least 3 weeks to get used to it. Su-yun touched Blackhead's head again. This shows that we brothers are fated. It's really fated. We met for less than an hour and he listened to your orders. Hwazi said, He stood up now because he can't wait to help you settle the matter. Blackhead, don't worry. It's not our turn yet. You and Brother Hwazi should eat first. You will have the strength to do things when you are full. Su-yun smiled. Hwazi was eating, but Blackhead had no intention of opening his mouth. I fed him before we came, and he doesn't have the habit of eating outside. Hwazi said and shook his chopsticks in front of Blackhead. You are not hungry now. What if you are hungry tomorrow? We can't go back for a while. You must eat outside. If it doesn't work, let's try it today. Yes, Blackhead, just give me face. Su-yun said and picked up a piece of crispy rib and put it in front of Blackhead. Don't do useless work. Blackhead won't eat it. Hwazi said and shook his head. However, just as Hwazi's voice fell, Blackhead opened his mouth and picked up the bone that Su-yun handed to him. Then, he unrestrainedly chewed it to pieces. The crisp bone was chewed by Blackhead's sharp teeth and made ka-ka-ka sounds. I say, brat, are you deliberately going against me? Hwazi was speechless. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I know you've been holding a grudge against me, but I've already explained this to you. I'm not the one who stopped you from working in our anti-drug unit. If you're angry, you can take it out on our captain. Don't blame me. Su-yun couldn't help but laugh. He didn't expect this little guy to hold a grudge. He actually blamed his retirement on Hwazi. Hwazi felt helpless. Blackhead followed me as soon as he retired. When people brought him to me, he was unwilling. Why wouldn't it? Su-yun asked. Hwazi said self-deprecatingly, because it knows that I'm just a guard of the warehouse. Although it can't speak, its heart is as clear as a mirror. It knows better than anyone else about any position in the anti-drug brigade, so it knows that I'm a useless person. It has no future if it follows me. Su-yun couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Blackhead, your brother Hwazi is guarding the warehouse because he's injured. Otherwise, he would be better than you. He's a big shot who has made contributions. Blackhead sat in the same place. After swallowing the bone, he stuck out his tongue and panted. What do you mean? Su-yun didn't understand. You don't understand what it means. It's looking down on you. It must be saying in its heart, as if no one has made contributions. Hwazi Gang's Blackhead translated, it must be thinking, it might have done more meritorious deeds than me. Su-yun couldn't help it. Then it really has the right to be proud. Blackhead, if you want to eat, then continue to eat. If you don't want to eat anymore, you've already given him face. You don't have to eat anymore. Hwazi patted Blackhead's head and put down his chopsticks. I'm full. Su-yun picked up another piece of rib for Blackhead. This time, Blackhead didn't eat it. It seemed that it really just wanted to give face to Su-yun. Because it wanted to show goodwill, it ate the rib that Su-yun gave it. We still have a long way to go. Su-yun smiled. Since you're full, let's not eat anymore. In the future, if you're tired of being in the anti-drug brigade and feel depressed because there are no missions, then come find me. Don't fool it. It really believes you. Hwazi hurriedly said. Although it's been retired for a year, until today, when we don't take it on missions, it's still in a bad mood. Many times, it showed that it wanted to run away from home. 2 months ago, it was squatting in front of our anti-drug brigade with a backpack containing its honor in its mouth. It looked like it wanted to run away from home in a fit of pique. As a drug detection dog, it can't continue to work after retirement. It must be depressed in its heart. Su-yun, especially since it hasn't reached retirement age yet. Even if it hasn't reached retirement age and retired early, it shouldn't be like this, right? Hwazi laughed. People who retire will feel depressed, at least at the bureau level. It's also because it has no power, so it's depressed in its heart. What do you think it's depressed about? Hearing Hwazi's words, Blackhead seemed to be angry again. It actually stood up and walked to Su-yun's side and sat down. Hwazi was dumbfounded. Blackhead, don't tell me you really want to follow him? After seeing Blackhead's reaction, Su-yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but he was also ecstatic. If the anti-drug brigade really doesn't want it to go out on missions, then it's better to let it follow me. At least it won't let it see other people go out on missions every day. It can only stay at home. That will definitely have a big psychological impact on it. This isn't appropriate, right? Although Hwazi was reluctant to part with Blackhead, it would be good if Blackhead could really find a place it liked after retirement. If it's willing to choose, I'm definitely willing to accept it. It just depends on whether the anti-drug brigade will let it go. Su-yun smiled slightly. If Blackhead was still serving, I definitely wouldn't force it. Since it's retired, giving it a chance to choose the life it wants is also a kind of reward. Hwazi was silent for a moment. I'll definitely choose to respect it. That's good. Su-yun, in this case, as long as the anti-drug brigade agrees, Blackhead will follow me in the future. The brigade doesn't need to agree. Hwazi felt that in this kind of matter, whether it was him or the anti-drug brigade, they should respect Blackhead's choice. No one should interfere. Then, Su-yun really didn't expect Hwazi to say something like this. Hwazi looked at Blackhead and smiled slightly. With a calm and gentle voice, he said to Blackhead, "After we do a good job this time, I'll go back. If you want to go back to the brigade with me, then we can go back together. I'll continue to take you on the plane. However, after we go back, you can still only follow me to watch the warehouse. It's impossible for you to go on other missions because the leader is worried that if your nose doesn't work for a second, it will ruin everything." Blackhead whimpered with grievance. It seemed that it had always been very confident in its nose. In fact, its nose had recovered very well. However, the anti-drug brigade had to be careful in everything they did. In many cases, detection dogs were their last line of defense. Therefore, they absolutely couldn't allow any what-ifs to happen. This was also the reason why the anti-drug brigade had to abandon Blackhead. It wasn't that they didn't trust Blackhead, but they were worried about the what-ifs to happen. No one wanted that what-if, but no one could guarantee that there wouldn't be any what-ifs to happen. Blackhead, if you feel that you won't be happy if you go back to the anti-drug brigade because you can't go on missions, then I'll make the decision for you. You can go with Brother Yun. Hwazi said, "Believe me, he's definitely a good person. He'll definitely treat you well. And I believe that you won't be bored if you go with him." Blackhead listened to Hwazi while looking up at Su-yun. Su-yun met Blackhead's gaze and gave him an affirmative nod. Blackhead seemed to have received some signal. He stuck out his tongue and smiled. "If you're willing to go with me, then you'll be my brother in the future. Su-yun, although I can't promise you anything, you definitely won't be bored in the future. Let me tell you, I'm in the entertainment business. There will definitely be many beautiful women around me. If you go with me, you'll definitely enjoy it." Hwazi joked, "Now that you've said it, even I want to go with you." "You're always welcome." Su-yun laughed. "I can give Blackhead freedom, but forget about me. I'm a member of the anti-drug brigade. When I die, I'll be a ghost of the anti-drug brigade." Hwazi sighed. "I definitely won't leave that place in my life." Su-yun didn't say anything. Blackhead also closed his mouth. "Blackhead, I hope you can follow your own wishes and make the choice you want to make. Don't think about me." Hwazi said this with pain and happiness in his heart. "I really hope that you can live happily for the rest of your life." Chapter 35:11. Su Yun saw that Huazi's feelings were a little too deep. He didn't want him to feel uncomfortable, so he quickly changed the topic. Brother Huazi, it's almost time. If you are done eating, then let's go. Okay. Huazi finished and got up. It's important to solve the business first. Blackhead and I haven't been on a mission for a long time. I am really touched that you can give us this opportunity. The two walked out of the restaurant's private room after they finished talking. This was a decent fish restaurant. Su Yun asked Huazi to help with something. Naturally, Huazi wouldn't find an ordinary place to receive him, so those who could eat here should be people with a little money. They ate relatively early and ate quickly. They finished eating before 12:30 and were ready to leave. As soon as they left the private room, they met some people who just came to eat. An aloof woman wearing sports brands passed by them and didn't see Blackhead. Although Blackhead tried to avoid her, she still rubbed against Blackhead. Suddenly, the aloof woman felt that something was wrong under her feet and immediately looked down. Blackhead happened to look up at the woman who accidentally touched it. The aloof woman had goosebumps all over her body. She screamed loudly, "Why is there such a thing? This is a restaurant. It's not a dog farm." After this shout, the cold woman's companions all stopped in their tracks. Everyone's eyes were focused on the black-headed man. To be honest, Blackhead was really not a good-looking dog in the dog world. If people were not used to looking at it, they would definitely be scared by it at first sight because Blackhead was born with a bit of a fierce look. What the hell is this? The male companion next to the aloof woman was a tall boy. He was wearing AJ sportswear and a pair of AJ shoes. He was wearing a black Jordan 11th generation Demon. It seemed that he should be a guy who liked to play basketball. Su Yun and Huazi also stopped. Huazi protected Blackhead behind him because he knew very well that Blackhead would not cause trouble. Even if something happened, it must be a misunderstanding. "Sorry, what's wrong?" Huazi said, "Did my dog scare you?" "This is your dog, right?" The cold woman suddenly stared at Huazi coldly. "Well, since you admit it, then it's easy. Pay up." "What money?" Huazi thought, nowadays, there are people who try to extort money from cars by the roadside. I didn't expect to meet someone who comes to a restaurant to extort money from a dog. What does he mean by asking for money so easily? The cold woman lifted her foot. "See? Do you know what shoes I'm wearing? I've been dirted by your dog. I'm sorry. Shoes are meant to be worn. They're meant to be used for walking. How clean can the things you step on be?" Huazi was a little impatient. "You're blaming it on my dog? Brother Huazi, let's not take this matter seriously." Su Yun stepped forward with a smile. Firstly, he didn't want to waste time, and secondly, he didn't want to attract attention, so he was prepared to settle this matter privately. Su Yun smiled and asked the other party, "How much?" "I'll compensate you." "Why would we?" Huazi couldn't understand. Su Yun didn't care about this kind of small matter. Spend money to buy peace. Now we don't have time to waste on this kind of small matter. Okay. Huazi swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Blackhead touched it. "I'll pay for it. Let me do it." Su Yun held Huazi's hand that was reaching for his wallet. "I have it here. 30,000. The cold and aloof woman suddenly opened her mouth like a lion and said a number that shocked even Su Yun. Huazi almost spat out a mouthful of blood. 30,000? Why don't you rob a bank?" Su Yun tried to suppress his temper as much as possible. "Did I hear it wrong? 30,000? Are you talking about the Vietnamese dong or the Indonesian rupiah? You open your dog eyes and see what kind of shoes this is." The cold woman said to Su Yun and Huazi impolitely, "This is Adidas Coconut 750. Have you never heard of poor people like you? I got it from Taobao when it was first released. I bought it for 30,000 yuan. Huazi's fist tightened. This girl looked pretty good, but why was her mouth so dirty when she spoke? Although Su Yun was about to explode, he still decided to take a step back and try not to get angry. "I'm sorry, miss. I know about this pair of shoes. Isn't it worn by Master Kan and the big-ass Kardashian woman? Even if it's authentic, it's not worth 30,000 yuan, right? Moreover, your shoes, I can tell at a glance that there's a 99% chance that it's from Putian. As soon as he said that, the man beside the cold woman couldn't stand it anymore. He went forward and was about to hit her. He directly shouted, "Are UF King blind? UF King wear Putian goods." This kind of shoes on Taobao can be found from 99 yuan including shipping. 100, 200, 200, and 300 yuan. 3 to 400 yuan, I dare to say that it's an imitation. Su Yun said, "But real is real. Fake can't be real." Because the shoes were bought by the tall man, he did spend 400 yuan to buy a pair of high imitation to deceive his girlfriend. Anyway, his girlfriend didn't know about the goods. She hadn't seen the authentic ones in the shopping mall. At that time, the shoes were just released, and the price was super expensive. Unscrupulous merchants would also use Putian goods to pass off as authentic. There were many who sold it at a cost of only 100 yuan. You shut up. The tall man couldn't stand Su Yun anymore. If he continued, his deception would be exposed. Are you feeling guilty? The cold woman suddenly glared at her boyfriend. You tell me, is this real or fake? Tell me, what's going on? This is real. The man quickly explained. Brother, there's no need to lie. You said that you're wearing a 200 yuan high imitation Joe 11. How could you spend 30,000 yuan to buy a real coconut for your girlfriend? Su Yun smiled bitterly. To be able to spend a few thousand yuan to buy sports shoes instead of luxury goods, it must be at least at the level of Kong Beauty. What does your boyfriend's father do? Did he also make a fortune in real estate? If King asked you to speak. The man came up and punched. Fortunately, Su Yun dodged quickly, so the fist didn't hit him. Su Yun's face was a bit ugly. This guy hit him. If so, he definitely wasn't going to continue to spoil him. However, the man's next action was even more excessive. He actually raised his foot and kicked the black-headed man. The black-headed man jumped and dodged the guy's foot. His throat issued a warning growl. You'd better not provoke it. If it really tears your throat, you won't have the chance to regret. Huazi's face was quite ugly. If it weren't for his identity, he would have taught the young man a lesson. You try to let your damn dog bite me. I must kill it today and make it into a dog meat hot pot. The tall man's mood was a bit agitated. Maybe it was because he needed to save face in front of his girlfriend, or maybe it was because his deceit was exposed and he was angry. Anyway, his mood was particularly bad now. If you really provoke the two of us, I'm in a good mood today, so I can forgive you. But if you dare to provoke it, then don't blame me for not being polite. Su Yun's mouth revealed a trace of an evil smile. Suddenly, Su Yun raised his leg and slammed it into the other party's calf. The other party cried out in pain and knelt on the ground. Su Yun grabbed the other party's throat and twisted it, causing the other party to be flipped over. Black-headed! Su Yun shouted. The black-headed man was very obedient and came to Su Yun's side. Do you see this neck? If you bite it, you can kill it. Su Yun said lightly, Don't worry, you're just a dog. You don't need to take legal responsibility. I just need to take you away, and no one will be able to find you. At most, I'll have to pay some money. Big brother. Big brother. Don't. The tall man was dumbfounded and panicked. The cold woman didn't dare to be rash and quickly apologized. Sorry big brother. We know we're wrong. Don't let it. Please don't. The black-headed man's face was already close. Instantly, everyone was so scared that they were silent. Finally, the black-headed man turned his head and walked directly behind Su Yun. See, this is called a great person forgiving a petty person. It won't lower itself to your level. Su Yun then let go of the man. Go do what you need to do. In the future, keep a low profile. That way you can live longer. After that, Su Yun and Huazi took the black-headed man and quickly left the restaurant. Go. Remember his license plate. We'll deal with him later. The tall man's friend only dared to speak at this time. Several people also walked out of the restaurant together. They just happened to see Su Yun and the others get on the black Kian and slowly leave. Several people were speechless. Among them, the best one could only afford to drive a Prado. In this society where money and cars were almost everything, they didn't dare to provoke the owner of the Kian. Chapter 35:12. Su Yun drove, Huazi sat in the front passenger seat, and Blackhead quietly stayed in the back seat. His head stretched out from the front seat, looking very obedient. Blackhead, you're really magnanimous. If I were you, I would definitely break that guy's neck in one gulp. Su Yun said, anyway, I will take care of the rest for you. What are you afraid of? Just bite. Blackhead is not an ordinary dog. He knows what kind of things he does and what kind of responsibilities he has to take. Huazi said, don't lead him astray. If he becomes unruly, it will be difficult to control him. I don't think Blackhead is that kind of dog. Blackhead is more sensible than ordinary dogs. Su Yun smiled. Don't be polite when you meet such people in the future. Blackhead stretched out his tongue and gasped, as if to show that he understood. If you follow me, no one is allowed to bully you or look down on you, because you are much stronger than them. Su Yun held the steering wheel with one hand and stretched out the other hand. Blackhead took the initiative to put his head on Su Yun's hand. Huazi saw it clearly and pretended to be jealous. Aya, I realize that you two are true love. That's great. I don't even need to dream anymore. Blackhead will definitely follow you in the future. Blackhead glanced at Huazi and seemed to be very embarrassed. Blackhead, let me tell you, if you follow Brother Yun, you have to make him promise to find you a girlfriend first. Huazi said, otherwise, it will be boring for you to follow him to that world. Since you have decided to live a life of debauchery in the big city, you can't continue to be a single dog. Work hard. Although Blackhead didn't know what a girlfriend was, he still listened very carefully to Huazi's words. Su Yun patted his chest and promised, don't worry, Blackhead. If you go to Qingdao with me, I will ask my friend to contact the kennel there. I will definitely find you a pure Belgian Malinois as your girlfriend. If there is no one in Qingdao, I will ask my connections to go to Yanjing and Shenzhen to find one. I'll definitely find you a bitch worthy of you. Blackhead seemed to have understood Su Yun's meaning. He opened his mouth wide in anticipation, his tongue sticking out even longer than usual. Aya, my mother. Can't you be more mature? Look at you. You can't wait to go on a blind date. Huazi laughed. Two people and a dog went straight to the highway while talking and laughing. They had agreed to meet at the service area, so Su Yun didn't go anywhere else. He reckoned that by this time, the infantryman should have already brought Leader 2 and Xiao Lu to meet with Big Head. Big Head was very courteous. He prepared a welcome banquet at the best hotel in Huang River. Although the person who came to pick up the car was only a lackey, he still showed that he attached enough importance to it. This was Big Head's style of doing things. The three of them took a taxi and went directly to the hotel arranged by Big Head. Big Head welcomed them at the door with a smile. Aya, brothers, you are all here. You must be tired from the journey. Quick, quick, quick. Sit down and have a cup of tea. Rest for a while. Big Head said as he took out cigarettes and distributed them. Xiao Lu took a look at the cigarettes. Oh, it's 100 renminbi a box. This guy is really rich. Boss, you are too courteous. We can just have a simple meal. Why do you need to make such a big fuss? It's too wasteful. The infantryman said. It's not wasteful. How can this be called wasteful? This is what I should do. Big Head said seriously. It's not easy to make a few close friends these days. It's a rare fate that we can meet. Don't be so courteous. After they sat down, Big Head ordered the dishes to be served. He immediately went to the main topic. Brother, your boss didn't come this time? My boss didn't come because he has something to do in Chuanzhou. He needs to settle it. He will come back when he has time, the infantryman said. That's why they came over first to help move the car back. Big Head nodded. Yes. It seems that your boss is really too busy. He has to deal with a lot of things every day. Yes, the boss is really too busy, the infantryman said. The escort cars over there are about to be sold. One of the bosses doesn't want to continue, so he sold them at a cheap price. He left in a hurry. Business matters are important. Big Head smiled. Obviously, he wasn't satisfied with the infantryman's boss. After all, he came here to discuss business. Now, it seemed that his position was lighter. After all, the cars that were mortgaged were all legal cars. It didn't matter if they encountered a traffic police inspection. However, it was different for water trucks. Unless they found an identical car and put a set of license plates on it, they would definitely be checked. There was no way they could escape. It's okay. Our boss will come over immediately after the business discussion. We are just taking these 3 cars away today. The other cooperation is one thing. Our boss bought them for fun. It has nothing to do with the future cooperation. The infantryman said, There are no problems with the cars, right? Can we drive them away at any time? Of course. We have already prepared them. You can rest assured and go on the highway. At least in our Huangjiang, no one will check you. I have already informed them. Big Head smiled. No one will check on the highway. I believe that when we reach Shenzhen, with your boss's connections there, no one will check on him, right? Of course. The infantryman smiled. No one will dare to check on us. Even if we are checked, our boss will be able to bail us out along with the cars. Although Big Head didn't know whether this was true or not, to be able to do this kind of business, they more or less had a strong connection with the traffic control department. That's quite good. Big Head expressed his admiration. It seems that your boss's background is quite big. He must be from a big family in Shenzhen, right? Of course. The infantryman finally knew why Su Yun made up a big family story for him last night. It seemed that it really came in handy today. Su Yun had already guessed that Big Head would ask about his family situation. Because Big Head was a shrewd person, he knew that if the other party was from a famous family, it would be a blessing for him to be involved in this matter. If it wasn't a big family but a small family, this matter wouldn't matter. He would just treat it as a business partner. It wouldn't be a loss to him. However, it was far from being connected to a big family. Let me tell you what our boss's family does. They are in the transportation business. The infantryman said, land transportation, air transportation, and sea transportation. Whether it is in Shenzhen in Huaxia, San Francisco in the United States, Amsterdam in Europe, Cape Town in Africa, our boss's family can be found in any transportation hub or port. Big Head was stunned all of a sudden. That was amazing. To be able to get into the transportation industry all over the world, it was definitely a big family that could be ranked in the top 10 in Huaxia. Everyone knew that if it wasn't a big family with a deep foundation and stable strength, it was impossible to get involved in such a big business. A family that could do this kind of business had at least hundreds of years of continuous ability. They were definitely powerful people. Anyway, let me tell you. In Shenzhen, there aren't many people who dare to provoke our boss, said the infantryman. However, Big Head was a little confused. Why would such a big family be involved in this kind of small business? Of course, this was something that Su Yun had already expected. He guessed that Big Head would definitely be suspicious. He had already told the infantryman how to excuse and explain. Actually, let me tell you the truth. Our boss doesn't care about this kind of small business at all. He doesn't care about doing this kind of thing. This is a business that our boss likes a girl who wants to do. Our boss invested a little money in her, said the infantryman. Big Head now felt that it was logical. How could a person from a big family that stood in the position of the world's transportation industry be interested in this kind of small business? Not to mention water trucks, even if it was a car brand that could be ranked in the top 500 in the world, his family could easily afford it. Our boss's girl likes to play with cars and insisted on doing this business. Our boss had no choice but to spend a lot of money just to win a smile from her. The infantryman made up the story according to Su Yun's words. Why would he make up such a woman? It was because Cho Yun was also here. As long as Big Head believed this, Su Yun could more flexibly control the whole situation. Spending a lot of money for a girl, your boss is really a sentimental person. Big Head smiled on the surface, but he thought in his heart. With such a big family backing him, why would he spend so much effort to get a girl? He is too useless. Look at young Master Tsung from the real estate and movie family. With a wave of his hand, a group of internet celebrities would take turns to play with them. I didn't see him doing physical business for any of the internet celebrities. Chapter 35:13. The infantryman suddenly sighed. "AI. What's wrong, Brother Abbing?" Big Head pretended to be concerned and asked. He didn't know what these people liked to do. "Actually, I'm really embarrassed to say this." The infantryman said, "Originally, we wanted that girl to go to Chuanzhou. Our boss came here and we agreed. After all, our business here is a big long-term cooperation. But that girl changed her mind halfway and insisted that our boss accompany her. Hee. Even heroes have a weakness for the charms of beautiful women." Big Head laughed awkwardly. He didn't know how to respond. "Now we're all having a headache. Who knows, that girl might even come here to discuss business with us." The infantryman didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Our boss gives in to her too much. Sometimes, she will make a lot of strange decisions. In the end, our boss will still follow her." Big Head was a little confused. "So you're saying, our future cooperation might fall through?" "No, I don't mean that. Brother." Big Head's mind was in a mess because of the infantryman. "I treat you as a brother now, and I will treat you as a brother in the future. But I have to say something. If we can't reach an agreement, the price of our car, don't worry about that." The infantryman said bluntly, "This is what our boss said. We will definitely cooperate. But I'm worried that the boss's woman will suddenly have a sudden idea and ask her to talk about this cooperation. Then. Ah." Big Head was stunned. The infantryman shook his head helplessly. "Because she doesn't understand these things, I'm worried that she will willfully talk about the business here. Boss, please don't feel annoyed. I'm just thinking about the worst-case scenario. Boss, don't worry too much." Ha, it's okay." Big Head was happy. If it was a person who didn't know the business, wouldn't it be better? Compared to the infantryman's worry, Big Head hoped that the girl who didn't know the business would talk to him about cooperation. This way, he might be able to get more benefits and it would be easier to fool her. In terms of business, Big Head always felt that it was easier to deal with women than men. In many cases, women were more emotional than men. Overly rational men were the most difficult businessmen to work with. Even if some business deals were successful, it would be extremely difficult. "I don't mind. I'm just worried that boss will be unhappy." The soldier said, "If our boss really agrees to let his girl come and discuss business with Chief, don't blame our boss. It's not that our boss doesn't value Chief, but he spoils his girl too much. That's why his girl likes to be unreasonable. It's okay, absolutely okay. As long as your boss is happy, it doesn't matter to me. Ha, I'm very casual, very casual." Big Head thought to himself, no matter who she is, as long as we continue to cooperate, it's fine. If I can grab hold of such a big family, my future days will be good. Men should pamper women. The footman smiled apologetically. "I didn't expect boss to be such a meticulous man." "Not really." The chief said, "As long as you are happy, we can successfully settle the matter of cooperation. Everything else is just a small matter." "Then I'll use tea instead of wine to toast you, Chief," the footman said. The chief politely declined. "It's okay to drink some wine. If you really can't, you can stay here for a day. I'll be the host tonight. Let's go and have some fun. It's not too late to leave tomorrow. Drink some wine today. I'll arrange a driver for you. No, Chief. We have to go back today. The boss wants us to take the car back as soon as possible. We can't make the decision. We'll drink when we have the chance. The footman refused on the spot. The chief didn't decline. After all, it was popular to drive without drinking and drink without driving. Anyway, he had already prepared. If they were willing to drink, he wouldn't interfere. If they weren't willing to drink, he wouldn't force them. Generally, people ate faster when there was no wine. In less than an hour, everyone put down their chopsticks. The footman didn't want Su Yun and the others to wait, so he couldn't wait to ask Big Head, "Can we go take the car now?" "Of course." Big Head nodded. "But, the price we agreed on before may have to change." The footman's face was a little ugly. "The price we agreed on is going to change? What the hell does Big Head want to do? Isn't it obvious that he doesn't want this business to continue?" "Chief, isn't it a bit unkind of you to do this?" The soldier immediately said, "We've already agreed on the price, and I've already told our boss about it. If you raise the price, then we'll have wasted our trip. This isn't what a businessman should do." "Brother, don't worry. I haven't finished my words yet." Big Head smiled slightly. "I have a new view on the cooperation between us. I don't care what you think. Can you give me the car? I brought the money, but not a penny more." The footman said affirmatively, "If you say you can't give, then I can't do anything. I can only accept my bad luck. Let's not be friends anymore." Big Head laughed. The footman was a little anxious in his heart. This matter can't be let go. But in the face of raising the price, he couldn't agree. If he agreed, Big Head would be suspicious. "Boss, you are not the only one in Huangjiang who is involved in the water truck business. I don't believe that I can't find another person who can cooperate with me." The foot soldier decided to take a risk and force Big Head to see his reaction. Sure enough, when the footman finished speaking and stood up, Big Head also hurriedly stood up. Big Head grabbed the footman's arm. "Brother, don't worry. Don't worry. Listen to what I have to say. I have no intention of raising the price." "Then what do you mean? Are you going to lower the price for us?" The footman looked at Big Head with disdain and expressed his extreme disdain. "Yes." Big Head suddenly replied, "I really want to lower the price for you." The footman was completely confused now. He couldn't understand what Big Head was selling in the gourd. "Chief, you are really interesting." The footman said, "You won't change the car, right? Then we won't accept it." "What are you thinking, brother? Don't you believe in my character?" Big Head said happily, "Because I hope to be friends with you and your boss in the future. We can have close cooperation and contact. I can't earn a penny from these 3 cars." The footman was confused. Did Big Head's brain get wet yesterday? He doesn't want to earn a penny? Was he just playing the game of shouting? Is he really just treating these cars as packaging boxes? No matter how nice Big Head's words were, the footman certainly couldn't believe his words. "Chief, what you said really makes me a little overwhelmed." "What's there to be overwhelmed about?" Big Head said, "You said that these 3 cars are for your boss to play with, so I thought about it. I definitely can't earn this money. If I had the ability and strength to make money, I would give these cars to him for free. But it's not easy for me to make a living in this line of work. I can't afford to give away 3 cars. I can only give your boss as much as I can get." "Chief, isn't this a bit too generous?" The footman said cautiously, "Such good conditions, are there any additional conditions?" "Brother, you are really thinking too much." "I definitely don't have any additional conditions." Big Head said, "I got 2,450,000 for these 3 cars. I'll give them to you without making a single cent. As for the 30 to 50,000 yuan cost after coming in, just take it as my greeting gift." The footman smiled slightly. "Chief, this is not what a businessman should do. I am a person who puts on airs. This time, I am completely making friends. Our future transactions will be as they are. I can't not earn money forever, but I can't earn money from these 3 cars. You just have to listen to me. Big Head said, I will also guarantee that you will make money from our future business, but I can't not earn money. The footman thought that this was saving money, so he didn't refuse. Then let's go over first. Let's go to the factory to do the transaction. Of course, no problem. Big Head said, Brother, it won't be too late to pay after you have chosen the cars. Okay, then we will go now. The footman signaled Team Leader 2 and Xiao Lu to get up. The 3 of them went down to a car under Big Head's arrangement. Someone specially drove the 3 of them over. Big Head's car also followed behind. At this moment, Big Head's mood was quite good because the other party was from a big family. For him, they might be his benefactor in the future, so he was very happy about this opportunity. Chapter 35:14. Team Leader 2 and Xiao Lu didn't talk to each other, so Big Head didn't suspect anything. Big Head's factory was huge, and it was beyond Team Leader 2 and Xiao Lu's expectations. After the 3 of them arrived, the infantryman looked at the 3 cars again and then took out the bank card that Su Yun had prepared for him. Big Head exchanged greetings and asked his subordinate to get the card machine. The infantryman paid the price that Big Head asked for. After paying for the car, the infantryman didn't say anything else and signaled for Team Leader 2 and Little Lu to drive away. Su Yun had said before that he didn't want Team Leader 2 and Little Lu to spend too much time with Big Head. After all, Big Head had many years of experience, and he had a strong sense of smell when it came to drug enforcement. Team Leader 2 got into the car, and the foot soldier prepared to drive the longest Rolls-Royce. Xiao Lu tried his best to control his excitement and got into the Ferrari. At this time, Team Leader 2 started the car and prepared to leave. The foot soldier looked at the Ferrari and prepared to let the 2 of them drive in front while he left at the back. However, Xiao Lu didn't move after getting into the car. It wasn't that Xiao Lu didn't want to leave, but he had never driven such a sports car before. He couldn't even find the gear when he got into the car, and he was stunned. If it was a normal day, he could just get out of the car and ask. But in this situation, he couldn't open his mouth to ask. After all, they were the subordinates of the boss who escorted the cars. Under this identity, he could be uneducated, uncultured, and didn't know English. The only thing he needed to know was how to drive all kinds of cars. If he didn't even know how to drive a sports car like a Ferrari, then it was impossible. Xiao Lu was scared. At this moment, he was really worried that his situation would make Big Head suspicious. Luckily, the foot soldier reacted fast enough and immediately realized the possible situation. He remembered that when he sat in the Ferrari for the first time, he was also stunned and didn't know how to drive the car. Wait! The foot soldier quickly got out of the Rolls-Royce and shouted to Xiao Lu, "You get out and drive this car." Xiao Lu was stunned for a moment, but he quickly listened to the infantryman's words and got out of the car. He secretly sighed in relief, thinking that it was fortunate that the infantryman had helped him out. Although the Rolls-Royce that the infantrymen were going to drive wasn't an ordinary car, it was more common to drive a car with a side gear. For example, Mercedes-Benz, old Buick Regal, and classic Buick GL8 were all side gears. Even if Xiao Lu had never driven a car before, he must have seen this type of car before. Therefore, the infantryman believed that he would be able to handle this Rolls-Royce. "I don't like driving this kind of big guy. You drive it." The infantryman smiled and said to Xiao Lu naturally, "I like to play with supercars." "Haha, it's uncomfortable to drive a supercar in the city, but it's different for long distances. Let me have some fun for 200 kilometers first, then I'll change it for you." Xiao Lu hurriedly nodded. When he walked past the infantryman lowered his voice and said, "Why done?" "Yes." Xiao Lu's heart relaxed. He had driven the classic Buick GL8 before, and his cousin also had a small 2-compartment Mercedes-Benz. Therefore, he was no stranger to Huaidon. Now, he could finally rest assured. Xiao Lu finally drove the Rolls-Royce smoothly, and the infantryman also felt relieved. It was no wonder that Xiao Lu was confused when he got into the Ferrari. The Ferrari was all about buttons, and the gears were all about the paddles. If he hadn't driven a Ferrari before, he would definitely be confused. "Boss, we'll go first. When I'm done with my boss, I'll contact you immediately. I'll send the car back and come back immediately." The infantryman rolled down the window and said to Big Head before leaving. Big Head nodded with a face full of smiles. "I wish you a safe journey." The 3 cars lined up and left the assembly plant. The infantryman was still distressed that he had spent so much money. Although Su Yun said that he didn't care about the money, the infantryman still couldn't help but sigh. The money was enough for him to earn for 10 years. "Boss, why did we give him such a low price? We really won't make a single cent." Big Head's brother with a black hat beside him was puzzled and asked. Big Head smiled slightly. "What do you know? This is called no risk, no gain." The black hat was still puzzled. "Didn't you notice that I asked them a substantial question? This is a question that I neglected before." Big Head said confidently, "I didn't expect their boss to be from a big family that is involved in international transportation. In China, those who can afford to play in this industry are definitely not ordinary people. Only the top 10 big families can do well in this industry." Top 10 big families? The black hat couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. This was too shocking. "That's right," Big Head said, "if I can build a relationship with such a big family, I'll do it even if I lose money, let alone not making money. Do you know how much power such a big family has? Let me tell you. I'm afraid you won't believe me. Brother, this is really something I don't dare to think about." The black hat nodded with a thirsty expression. Big Head pretended to take a deep breath and finally said, "I also don't dare to think about it. This is simply, really unimaginable." The black hat was a bit speechless. After talking for a long time, Big Head still didn't say anything. However, this made the black hat even more curious. He was really curious about how people from big families lived. AI, this person, reincarnation is definitely a skill. The black hat also sighed, "If I can be reincarnated into such a big family, I won't have to run for my life. I'll be born with a diamond spoon in my mouth. I'll have everything I want. That kind of feeling is so great." Big Head looked at the black hat and said disapprovingly, "What are you thinking about? Stop dreaming. Go do what you need to do. Your life is a cheap life of running for your life. I don't even dare to think about being reincarnated into a big family. Hee hee. I'm just thinking about it. I only dare to think about it." The black hat explained. "Think my ass." Big Head said seriously, "Let me tell you. With your IQ, if you were born into a big family, I'm afraid you won't even know how you died. In that kind of environment, you have to play tricks with your close relatives. You will have nightmares every night when you sleep." Although the black hat didn't think it was that serious, after thinking about it carefully, if it was really him, he might really play tricks with his own brother for the countless family assets. Humans are a kind of terrible animals. In any environment, they will have different desires and pursuits. The children of poor families may only want to have the food, clothing, and small savings of ordinary people. Ordinary people will want to have the luxury cars and mansions of rich people. Rich people will want to have the connections, resources, and supreme status of a big family. And what would a person who was born in a supreme family like that want to obtain? This was probably something that ordinary people couldn't imagine and understand. At least for people at Big Head's level, it was certainly unimaginable. In fact, that kind of life was boring. When you were born, you had everything. When you were born, you didn't have any life pursuits or goals. When you were born, you lived at the top of the pyramid. When you were born as a CEO. When you were born, you could play with countless rich and beautiful women. When you were born, you were at the peak of life. What was the point? The most beautiful thing in life was the process. A process of pursuing, a process of constantly satisfying one's own desires. Only then would one feel happy. Once a person couldn't feel happy about anything, other than playing with drugs, what else could make him happy? Big Head thought that the boss of the infantry might also know how to play with ice. If he had a chance to meet him in the future, he might be able to get some information out of him. Perhaps his business would become easier and simpler. But all of this was just Big Head's imagination. After all, he hadn't even met him yet. It was rare to meet a big family. Big Head sighed and shook his head. He only hoped that he would have the opportunity to meet him in this life. Although the infantry promised that his boss would soon come to discuss business with him, Big Head was worried that his business was nothing in the eyes of the other party. If the boss's woman suddenly had other ideas and projects, it was possible that he would be directly dumped. You all better pray for me. Pray that our business can make the other party interested. Big Head waved his hand, indicating that he was leaving. Go, 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 don't waste time here. I have to go to the hotel over there to meet someone. That guy came here to seek refuge with me and has been ignored by me for a long time. He hasn't left yet. It seems that he is really desperate. This is a guy worth making good use of. I must make good use of him. He. Chapter 35:15. At this moment, Su Yun and Huazi had arrived at the designated highway service area with Blackhead. All that was left was to wait for Footman, who was already on his way. About 40 minutes later, 3 luxury cars drove into the service area together. Any one of the 3 cars was enough to attract attention, not to mention all 3 of them together. Some people had even started to take pictures secretly. To avoid suspicion, Su Yun called Footman and asked him to meet him at the restaurant in the service area. Team Leader Tu and Xiao Lu walked to the restaurant smoothly after receiving the notice. It seemed that they looked like chauffeurs driving such a luxurious car with their attire. Footman, who drove a Ferrari, was treated differently. A girl came up to him and asked him for his WeChat. She even asked him where he was going and if he could give her a ride. Girls nowadays were much more generous than before. They did not shy away from their pursuit of luxury. If the car really belonged to Footman, he would not mind having a little romantic encounter on the way. Unfortunately, he was not in the mood to flirt with girls, so he directly rejected her. However, the girl did not give up. She pulled his hand and asked him if he could open the door for her to sit inside and take a picture. She said that she liked Ferrari very much, but she never had a chance to sit in it. She hoped that Footman could give her a chance. For this, the girl even said to the soldier that if he agreed, she would also fulfill one of his conditions. What was wrong with this society? The footman was a little speechless. He told the girl very seriously that he did not want her to fulfill any of his conditions, so he hoped that she would stop pestering him. The girl showed a disdainful look. After Footman left, she said unwillingly, "What are you pretending for?" Footman refused again and quickened his pace to catch up. Many onlookers in the service area could not help but look at the 3 cars. Some people even went to the front of the cars to take pictures. Su Yun introduced Huazi and the others to each other. Of course, he also introduced Blackhead. They all shook hands and greeted each other. No one followed you all the way here, right? Huazi was more cautious in this aspect. Don't worry, Huazi. Big Head trusts us very much now. He has no doubts. Footman said, "No one followed us all the way here. I can guarantee that. If there was someone, we would not have stopped." That's good. Huazi smiled and nodded. These criminals are too cautious. We should also be careful. If we are not careful, our identities may be exposed. Brother Yun has reminded me many times. I am more cautious than before. Footman's improvement these days was obvious. Su Yun lowered his head and glanced at the black-headed man. Black-headed, these 3 cars might have hidden drugs, but because there are too many people right now, it's not convenient for us to bring you over for a direct inspection. After all, people like to take photos and post them on their WeChat moments. I'm worried that if we were photographed and posted on the internet, there would be trouble. So now, we need you to go alone. Can you handle it? This is simple. Huazi confidently touched Blackhead's head. You go and sniff it. If there is no problem, you come back and don't make a sound. If one car has a problem, you come back and bark. If 2 cars have a problem, you come back and bark twice. If all 3 cars have a problem, you come back and bark 3 times. Can you do it? Blackhead barked and quickly left. A well-trained sniffer dog was indeed different. Footman was quite surprised. It is too powerful. Can it understand what you're saying? Huazi nodded proudly. Of course. Blackhead is the star dog in our anti-drug team. This little thing is nothing to it. Amazing. Footman gave a thumbs up. Then it is stronger than many people. Of course. Huazi was very proud. Do you like it? Su Yun, Blackhead is definitely a divine dog that understands human language. I really like it, Footman said. I really like dogs. If I can have such a dog, it will be amazing. It is definitely something to show off. You don't have to think about it. Blackhead is mine. I will take it with me after this mission, Su Yun said. Hearing Su Yun's words, Footman opened his mouth in surprise again. At this time, Blackhead had already run to the 3 cars and began to carefully examine them. In fact, in a place like the high-speed service area, the smell was very messy. The smell of gasoline and exhaust were very serious, so it was also a challenge for the drug detection dog. The smell of so many people would also distract it. What's more, Blackhead's respiratory tract was injured, so Huazi was a little worried. Of course, this was only a little worry. Blackhead can't be taken back by you. Team Leader 2 knew the drug detection dog well. It was the treasure of the anti-drug team. It would not be given away casually, especially Blackhead. He could tell that it was a meritorious service dog. It was so intelligent. It was too powerful. Su Yun was proud. Brother 2, I know you don't believe it. If you don't believe it, you can ask Brother Huazi. I have already discussed this matter with him. As long as Blackhead is willing to go with me, he will not refuse. And now Blackhead's attitude is very clear. It really wants to go with me. It will live with me in the future. Really? Team Leader 2's eyes widened. Is there such a good thing? The people of the anti-drug team are too generous. Thinking of this, Team Leader 2 couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. He looked at Huazi with expectant eyes. That. Can I also ask for one from your anti-drug team? That's really not possible. I can't make the decision. Huazi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You don't know the situation. Blackhead is a retired drug detection dog. That's why I can promise Su Yun. Blackhead is retired and can't go out for missions, so it is very sad. Now that it heard that it can follow Su Yun, it is very happy. So it chose to go with Su Yun. This is a completely special situation. Our team leaders are very familiar with Su Yun, so if they know that Blackhead is going with Su Yun, they can accept it emotionally. This is a completely special situation. Every drug detection dog in our anti-drug team is more precious than a person. It is absolutely impossible to give it away casually. Team Leader 2 smiled awkwardly. I'm just asking. Ha ha ha, I know. I know they are all treasures. Team Leader 2, don't worry. Blackhead will go with me to Qingdao in the future. If you need Blackhead's help, bring some delicious food to it. I will ask it to give you face. Su Yun joked. Team Leader 2 took it seriously. That's what you said. I will definitely bring it the best steak. That's not a problem. But if I really need it, can you really ask it to help? Su Yun also became serious and nodded. Of course, I believe Blackhead must want to accept the mission. Then I'm so happy. Team Leader 2 was excited when he thought of this. But I have a condition. Su Yun quickly said, after all, Blackhead is retired. It is also a drug detection dog with a lot of merits. I hope it can have a good end. If it is very dangerous, we don't let it do anything. I can help you solve that kind of dangerous thing. As for this kind of non-dangerous thing, I can promise you. Team Leader 2 nodded hard. That's a must. I certainly won't be willing to let Blackhead, such an excellent drug detection dog, do dangerous things. Don't let it hear what you said. If it knows, it will be angry. Blackhead has a strong self-esteem. If it hears what you said, it will think that you are looking down on it. Maybe it won't go with you if it gets angry, Huazi said. Su Yun quickly signaled Team Leader 2 to stop talking about this topic. Blackhead seemed to have completed the mission. It ran back with its small steps. Looking at its confident face, it must have a card up its sleeve. When I saw the length of its tongue, I knew that it must know everything. Don't worry. Huazi nodded with satisfaction and waved to Blackhead. Blackhead immediately sped up and ran to them. Chapter 35:16. When Blackhead ran in front of them, he barked 3 times at Huazi almost without hesitation. There was something wrong with all 3 cars. This was already confirmed without hesitation. Not only was Big Head the triangular-eyed person who came here to seek refuge, but he must also be the guy who used the smuggling cars in the port area as a cover to smuggle some drugs from America into the mainland. Su Yun smiled and touched Blackhead's head. You're very good. Follow me in the future. I'll definitely let you enjoy life and let you have no regrets in your dog life. You have to work harder for the next mission. Although Blackhead couldn't speak, Su Yun could see his desire for the mission in his eyes. Director Su, now that we're sure it's him, let's just take action and catch him off guard. Team Leader 2 couldn't wait to catch these criminals. His face was full of longing and thirst for a knife. Brother 2, don't worry. None of these fellows will be able to escape. Su Yun smiled faintly. I can assure you of this. But we can't act rashly now. Just like before, we must catch them with the goods. There must be something wrong with the assembly factory. Xiao Lu was also anxious in his heart. He also wanted to catch these bastards as soon as possible. Yes, there is indeed a problem. Su Yun nodded. But we can't guarantee that they will put the drugs they brought in the assembly plant. If they move to another place, although we can catch them off guard with a surprise attack, if we can't find the drugs, it will be tantamount to beating the grass and alerting the snake. Xiao Lu thought about it. It was indeed so. If they alerted the enemy, they would definitely move with the fastest speed. In this way, all the previous plans would be ruined. This was what no one wanted to see. Then how can we guarantee that we catch a person with the goods? Team Leader 2 frowned. For this mission, it seemed to be more difficult than catching Triangular-eyed in Qingdao. When he just got the car in the port area, we can definitely catch a person with the goods. Su Yun. The few of them were stunned for a moment. This kind of opportunity was too hard to grasp. Director Su, it's hard for us to determine when his car will come in. This is really unrealistic. After all, his car was sneaked in. Moreover, we have to launch a surprise attack. I'm afraid it's really difficult. Team Leader 2 said, the drugs are mixed in the interior of the car. Removing the interior of the car and taking out the drugs shouldn't be a complicated process. As long as there are enough people, we can definitely solve the problem quickly and transport the drugs out. It can even be done in half an hour or 45 minutes. Seizing this opportunity to confirm the evidence and arrest a person in such a short period of time did sound a little too difficult. It does sound difficult, but it seems that this is the only way we can solve this problem. Su Yun was also helpless. But I believe that we can definitely seize the opportunity, as long as we are diligent enough. If there's a problem, we have to find a way to solve it. Huazi smiled. These people who deal with drugs are getting more and more difficult to deal with. You really need to put in some effort and have enough luck. Otherwise, it is really difficult to solve the problem. Luck. This is too ethereal. Xiao Lu sighed. At this time, it was indeed difficult to solve the problem. However, the more difficult it was, the more they should maintain an optimistic attitude. Su Yun's attitude was very good. Don't worry. Luck will always be on the side of those who are prepared. Just after Su Yun said this, he received a call from Cho Yun. Someone came to the hotel to look for him. I can be sure that this person is the Big Head you mentioned. Cho Yun was very sure. Although she had never seen Big Head, She heard from the infantry that there were not many people in the world who had such a big head. Therefore, Cho Yun confirmed the other party's identity at that time. Su Yun asked urgently, "What's the situation now?" Big Head took the person away. It seems that he left in a hurry. Cho Yun said, "I am following them now. They seem to be going out of the mainland to the port area." Su Yun heard this and became spirited. "Cho Yun, you have to keep an eye on them no matter what. Now, I can only trouble you. You can rest assured." Cho Yun nodded. "Even if they go to the port area, you have to follow them. You must not let that guy out of your sight." "Su Yun, we are going back now. If you need anything, remember to inform us immediately." "Okay." Cho Yun nodded. "I will contact you immediately when I need you." After hanging up the phone, Su Yun got up and asked everyone to leave together. The 3 cars directly stopped at the highway service area. Several people went back together in Su Yun's car. They seemed to have only one task now, and that was to wait for Cho Yun's news. Now, Cho Yun was the only clue. The reason why Big Head was in such a hurry to find Triangular Eyed was very simple. He wanted Triangular Eyed to help him get a batch of goods. This batch of goods was huge. Needless to say, it was very dangerous. Because the risk was too high, Big Head wanted an experienced guy. At this time, Triangular Eyed was naturally the first person he thought of. Because of Triangular Eye's special identity, he had been forced into a desperate situation. At this time, only he could give him a chance. Although this kind of thing was very dangerous and very tricky, it was time for him to prove his ability. If Triangular Eyed could not handle this batch of goods, Big Head would accept the loss. But this fire would not burn him. Because now, once Big Head was caught, the Qingdao police would definitely get the news. In this case, Triangular Eyed could not have anything to do with him. As long as he cleaned himself up, even if Triangular Eyed sold him out, the police would have no way to do anything to him without evidence. So now, the first person Big Head thought of was Triangular Eyed. Because this batch of goods was too dangerous, anyone could fail. But if he succeeded, he would definitely make a lot of money. Furthermore, there were a lot of cars in this batch. If Shenzhong's boss bought all the cars that came in, then Big Head wouldn't need to accumulate any funds anymore. This batch of goods could definitely solve the problem that he had been struggling with for many years. He could almost flexibly withdraw all the funds he had accumulated. Big Head naturally could not miss such a good thing. This batch of goods was also very urgent in the port area. Last night, they contacted him. Big Head decided to take a gamble, because he knew that if he didn't give it his all, he would always exist in this state, and there would be no limit to what he could do. Big Head was not satisfied with his current situation. He wanted to make more money and make easier money, so he decided to let this guy, who had no choice but to rely on him, take the risk to do this. As long as it succeeded, he would sit back and enjoy the fruits of his labor. Although this was obviously using Triangular Eyed, and after Triangular Eyed went to the port area, he would understand Big Head's intention at the beginning of the transaction. But Big Head still decided to do it. It was just like what he said. It would be a waste if he did not use the manpower. A guy like Triangular Eyed was kept by his side to do this kind of thing. If this matter could be solved, then Big Head would really consider cultivating Triangular Eyed as his confidant. But now it was not possible. Triangular Eyed had not completely won Big Head's trust. When Big Head came to the hotel and told him the matter directly, Triangular Eyed was stunned. Of course, Big Head did not clearly explain the danger of receiving the goods this time. He just gave a very vague idea, so Triangular Eyed did not know the danger of this matter. He thought Big Head trusted him and decided to give him a chance so quickly. So when Triangular Eyed promised Big Head, he was very grateful. Although Big Head showed him his power yesterday, it did not prevent him from kneeling down and licking Big Head's boots. After all, at this time, he was living under someone else's roof. He was the underling of Big Head's underling. This feeling of living under someone else's roof could be said to be very bad. If he had something to do, he would not be living under someone else's roof. Big Head directly looked for him, then he would be Big Head's underling. He did not need to be an underling under those underlings anymore. He would be promoted directly. Boss, you can rest assured. I will help you solve this matter beautifully. I guarantee that you can lie at home and make money at ease. Triangular Eyed gave Big Head a guarantee. This was a military pledge. For him, it was already a very important promise. Big Head laughed sinisterly in his heart, but on the surface, he looked highly. I believe in your ability. Chapter 35:17. Big Head took Triangle Eyes away from the hotel. Cho Yun caught him red-handed and followed him. Under Big Head's arrangement, Triangle Eyes immediately left Huangjiang with 2 people after he got the delivery address. Along the way, they changed vehicles many times to enter the port area. Cho Yen lived up to their expectations and did not lose them all the way. The place that Triangle Eyes and the others went to was a very awesome place in the port area. It was known as the largest car market in Asia. There were all kinds of cars here. There were all kinds of cars. People from all over the province came here to pick up their carriages. It was definitely a place that could broaden one's horizons. After arriving at the port area, Cho Yun first followed Triangle Eyes and the others to take the subway to Jinlu Road. Then Triangle Eyes and the others took a bus 54. Cho Yun happened to take a taxi and followed the bus along Jintian Road to the mountain road. This road could be called a remote and desolate place. Even Triangle Eyes and the others complained that this place didn't have the style of a port area at all. It was just a few villages surrounded by mountains. However, there was still a lot of traffic on the road. There were buses, taxis, and private cars. Therefore, Cho Yun was very safe following them. She wouldn't be easily noticed and suspected. Along the way, there were many black people and Indian people. She didn't know what these people were doing. Cho Yun could only give an evaluation of a remote and desolate place. After entering Jintian Road for 2 or 3 kilometers, they began to see some car parks one after another. After reaching Boxiang, it was wonderful. There were car parks on both sides of the road. Moreover, 90% of them were left-hand car parks. There was no doubt that almost all of these cars would enter the mainland market. In other words, this was not only the largest used car market in Asia, but it was also likely to be the largest base for smuggling cars in Asia. Even if they came here to buy cars, the price was probably only about 25% of the price of the same model in the mainland. People who came here for the first time would probably have the same idea, which was to take all these cars back. It was too rich. Of course, there were also car dismantling and car cutting shops everywhere. Of course, 1-cut cars and 2-cut cars still existed in the water car market. It wasn't strange to see more than a dozen high-class Mercedes-Benz or huge Land Rover Range Rovers. Cho Yun was deeply touched. After coming to this place, it seemed that all the car shows in the world were floating clouds. Other than the rare cars under $1 million and limited edition cars, all the cars released in the world were available here. In addition to the whole car, there were also all kinds of car parts for sale. However, it seemed that for the sake of profit, most of the car companies were basically super luxurious RV, super sports car, and super luxury car. Japanese performance cars and small German steel cannon cars were a little rare here. Perhaps it was because Baxiang was located in a rural area in the port district of Yuanlang that led to such large-scale development. It could be said that this place had a very long history. Long before the port district was opened, the original inhabitants of the new territories had already lived here. The location of this place was like a cornucopia, located in the middle of the basin, surrounded by mountains such as Guanyin Mountain, Big Hat Mountain, Lotus Mountain, Jigong Ridge, and so on. The west side was adjacent to Jintian, and the south side was adjacent to Shigang. This place wasn't considered a big town. There were only 30 or so Y2 and Ku villages in this place, and there were only tens of thousands of people. Of course, in addition to the famous water wheel, there was also rice that was produced in the early years. It was said that it was a tribute to the imperial court in the Qing dynasty. After the bus arrived at the station, Triangle Eyes and the other 2 also got off one after another. Seeing that the 3 of them discussed for a while, and then prepared to walk forward, Cho Yun immediately paid the fare and got off the taxi. In this way, Cho Yun carefully followed the three of them to a car company. After arriving at the car company, Triangle Eyes skillfully communicated with a person in the car company. About half an hour later, they were led out by the car company's people. After 10 minutes of twists and turns on the road, it seemed that they finally arrived at a place where private cars were assembled. This place could be said to be quite hidden, because the width of the road was not enough for cars to enter. Cho Yun found a safe place to observe. After waiting for another 10 minutes, a person with white gloves and a white mask appeared. Triangle Eyes became respectful after seeing this person appear. He took the initiative to step forward and tried to shake hands, but the other party didn't intend to shake hands with him. He just nodded as a greeting. "Are you here to inspect the goods?" The white mask said faintly. Triangle Eyes nodded. "Yes, I'm here to inspect the goods." "Three of you came? Are you going to bring this batch of goods back together?" The white mask was stunned for a moment. It's dangerous to bring 3 cars into the area at the same time. "I know." Triangle Eyes nodded. "Then are you going to continue doing this?" "Young man, I'll give you a suggestion. Don't take such a big risk." The white mask said, "It's easier to deal with an emergency with 1 car." "Sir, you don't need to worry about this. Our boss is now seriously out of stock, so this batch of goods is urgently needed." Triangle Eyes said, "I have experience in this area. I will try my best to be careful. Your boss likes to joke too much." The white mask seemed to be somewhat incomprehensible to this kind of risk. Is making money more important or your life more important? Can't you understand this point? Triangle Eyes smiled awkwardly. "We're only doing this because we're confident. I haven't seen you before. Your boss trusts you so much for the first time. It seems that your future is really limitless." The white mask looked up and down at Triangle Eyes and nodded with satisfaction. "Then let's not talk nonsense. Hurry up." After the white mask finished speaking, he took out a bag of blue crystals and handed it to Triangle Eyes. Triangle Eyes was a knowledgeable person. The purity of organic matter could be measured by heating, then observing the melting of the crystals with a microscope and recording the temperature. The smaller the temperature difference from the beginning to the complete melting, the higher the purity. There was all equipment that could be inspected in this place. When Triangle Eyes inspected the goods, the white mask waited without saying a word. When Triangle Eyes smiled with satisfaction, the white mask spoke. "Now you can call your boss." The white mask said, "It's still the same old rule. As soon as the money is in the account, we will arrange the loading immediately. Each car has 3,000 grams, which are in the interior panels of the 4 doors. You can watch us load the goods all the way. The premise is that the money is in the account first." "Okay." Triangle Eyes knew that Big Head was very familiar with the business here, so there was nothing to worry about. Cho Yun saw all of this in the dark. This way of transporting drugs was indeed more covert than before. Thinking about it, even if the car was checked on the road, it would be the car inspection department that detained the car. As long as they found out where the car was detained, they could still use some means to get the car out. At least, they could find a way to get the things in the car out. This was simply a flawless method. It was no wonder that Big Head could safely do this business for so many years. Triangle Eyes dialed Big Head's phone and reported the situation here. "Boss, there is no problem with the purity of this batch of goods. Do you think we can transfer the money immediately, and then we can inspect the goods and go back immediately?" "Don't worry." Big Head gave a new decision. "I just received news that the police will have a strict crackdown today and tomorrow. Coming in at this time is definitely courting death. You wait for a while and come back tomorrow after the storm passes. It is safer to put the car in the port area. You can communicate with the other side." "Okay." Triangle Eyes nodded. "You can use this opportunity to suppress the price and waste 2 days. See if they can lower the price for this batch of goods." Big Head added, "You don't have much money now. If you can lower the price for this batch of goods, you can save it as a reward for your hard work." Triangle Eyes understood the underlying meaning of these words at that time. It meant that if he couldn't lower the price for this batch of goods, he wouldn't be able to get any money. If he wanted to make money, he had to rely on his own ability to lower the price and take the lowered price as his own money. At this moment, the triangular-eyed man's heart was filled with curses. Big Head's actions were really too unscrupulous. He was simply toying with him like a monkey. The price had been negotiated long ago, and it had always been the price of cooperation. It couldn't be lowered just because he said so. Moreover, this was the port area. If he said something wrong, he was likely to be attacked to death. Okay. Triangle Eyes tried to calm his mood as much as possible and carefully agreed to Big Head's request. Boss, then I will try. I will try my best, but I'm afraid I can't give you a guarantee. You don't have to promise me. Big Head smiled slightly. Just think about your own interests. Chapter 35:18. After hanging up the phone with Big Head, although Triangle Eyes hated and scolded in his heart, he still endured all the things that should be endured. No matter what, now was an opportunity for him. Having an opportunity was better than having no opportunity at all. Triangle Eyes comforted himself in his heart and turned directly to the White Mask. Our boss hopes that the price this time can be 3% lower than the previous price. Triangle Eyes said such a sentence almost without warning. The White Mask was stunned at once. Are you crazy? 3%. Are you kidding me? I'm not kidding. Triangle Eyes said. Before, it was a single car. This time, we're sending 3 cars together. Shouldn't you give us a discount? Then you want to lower the price by 3%? The White Mask made a disdainful smile. You're too naive. 1 car is 3 kilograms, and 3 cars are 9 kilograms. If you ask for 3% and lower the price by 3%, it means that I'll give you 270 grams for free. Do you know how much 1 gram of this blue ice costs? Triangle Eyes nodded. Of course I know. 270 grams of blue ice is hundreds of thousands more for you. Your appetite seems to be a bit too big. The White Mask didn't want to continue the conversation with Triangle Eyes. There aren't many people who can take 9 kilograms of goods from you at one time with 3 cars, right? Triangle Eyes said impolitely, I don't know how many customers you have on the mainland, but our boss is definitely the biggest one, right? What? Do you want to threaten me? The White Mask's voice became more and more disapproving. Young man, think about it. Don't delay your boss from making money because of this. This blue ice is very rare. If you don't want it, I can still sell it. In the end, you'll be the one who loses. You won't lose millions because of hundreds of thousands, right? That's something only a fool would do. Triangle Eyes closed his eyes and took a deep breath. If we don't take this large batch of goods, you'll definitely have a backlog of funds in your hands. I said, don't threaten me, and don't analyze what I'll do. I won't fall for it. The White Mask shook his head. If you don't want it, then forget it. Forget it. Triangle Eyes turned his head and left after saying that. This reaction really caught the White Masked man off guard. This was the first time the other party had treated him with such an attitude after so many collaborations. Are you crazy? The White Masked man was furious, but Triangle Eyes didn't even turn his head. The 2 lackeys who came with Triangle Eyes were also dumbfounded. However, they had been instructed by Big Head to listen to Triangle Eyes. Therefore, when Triangle Eyes left, the 2 of them followed closely behind. The White Masked man's eyes widened. He didn't believe that these 3 guys dared to leave, but the triangular-eyed man walked out just like that. As an experienced person, Triangle Eyes knew the mentality of both parties. He knew the mentality of White Mask very well, which was why he dared to leave. 9,000 grams. What kind of concept was that? For this kind of expensive blue ice, this was definitely a big deal. Generally speaking, anyone who could order more than 2 kilograms of blue ice at once was definitely a big customer. This meant that he had 4 or 5 customers. Under such circumstances, the seller would definitely be able to accept a price reduction of 3%. At least Triangle Eyes could accept it when he was the seller. However, even if he could accept it, everyone would play psychological warfare. They wouldn't agree to a bargain. Selling 9,000 grams at once could quickly complete the capital return. If the 9,000 grams of blue ice were to be spent separately, it would basically take 4 or 5 times. That would take at least 1 month, sometimes even 2 months. Under such circumstances, the seller definitely didn't want to bear the stagnation of capital. Therefore, Triangle Eyes asked for a very reasonable price reduction, but 3% was definitely the seller's acceptable limit. Therefore, in this case, it would be difficult for the seller to make a decision for a while. Triangle Eyes was sure that the other party absolutely didn't want to sell the blue ice to him at this moment. However, once the other party calmed down and thought about it carefully, he would begin to regret it. After all, this was an opportunity to choose to make a move in an instant. At this time, the more he left as a buyer, the more regretful the white-masked man would be. Triangle Eyes was too familiar with the psychology of this kind of transaction, so this was the reason why Big Head arranged for him to talk about this business. If Big Head came personally for this kind of business, he would do the same. However, 3 cars at a time was indeed too risky. Big Head could take the risk with the blue ice, but he would never let his own people take the risk. For now, after Big Head's right-hand man was killed because he offended a big boss in the port area, there was really no one around him who could lower the price. Triangle Eyes was his only best choice. A wise person would definitely be able to help him lower the price. Big Head's real purpose for Triangle Eyes to come here was this. If he could lower the price this time, it would be easier to negotiate in all aspects in the future. The initiative would be in his hands. Originally, Big Head wanted Triangle Eyes to understand this principle by himself. However, it happened that there was a check, so he didn't wait for Triangle Eyes to understand it. He directly told him to do it. Of course, if he could successfully lower the price by 3 points, Big Head wouldn't give the money to Triangle Eyes. He also believed that Triangle Eyes wouldn't want the money. This was completely the time for him to show his value. If Triangle Eyes couldn't even lower the price by 3 points, then it was meaningless for Big Head to keep him by his side. It would only be a burden without any benefits. Only a fool would do such a thing. You'll regret it if you leave. The white-masked man scolded at Triangle Eyes and the other two's backs. Triangle Eyes still didn't have the slightest intention to pay attention to him and left directly. Cho Yun was also very surprised to see that the transaction had failed. Would the business really be ruined because of a little money? This was a little unreasonable. However, Cho Yun didn't have time to think about it. She could only continue to secretly watch to see what they wanted to do. After all, it was unlikely that Triangle Eyes and the others would leave immediately without a deal. They must have other purposes. The 3 quickly stopped in front of a fast food restaurant. Triangle Eyes seemed to be hungry and went inside to order hamburgers and cola. Right now, he didn't want to do anything other than eat something. If we go back like this, we'll be skinned by Big Head. One of the underlings couldn't hold back anymore. He stared at Triangle Eyes and said, "The deal fell apart just like that? If we lose 3 points, they won't give it to us and we just leave like that? What's going on?" From this guy's tone of voice, it could be heard that he didn't have much respect for Triangle Eyes. After all, Triangle Eyes didn't have any status in their group. He was just a newcomer. The triangular-eyed man, on the other hand, appeared very calm. He knew that he was a newcomer. If he wanted to convince the people around him, he had to be patient. He had to convince them with his virtue and ability. Only in this way could he gain a firm foothold. Under those calm, ugly, and sinister eyes, there was an unknown ambition hidden in the triangular-eyed man's eyes. Big Head's attitude towards him was still vivid in his mind, so he swore that as long as he had the chance, he would take Big Head's position. In the future, the one sitting in Big Head's position would be him. Everything here would belong to him. It would no longer have anything to do with Big Head. He just wanted Big Head to kneel in front of him and beg for mercy. Only then would Triangle Eyes feel that he had a goal in life and be filled with motivation again. "Big Head asked me to cut off the 3 points." Triangle Eyes said indifferently, If we don't cut off the 3 points and go back, we'll definitely be scolded as trash. Brothers, do you want to be trash in Big Head's eyes or elites in his eyes? Do you want to have a chance to be a big brother in the future? No one doesn't want to be a big brother. But with the current situation, our deal has fallen through. Another underling was vaguely worried and couldn't help but complain. Triangle Eyes laughed when he heard this. Who said the deal fell through? If we don't take the goods, who has the strength to take so many goods at once? Besides, Big Head has given us time. These 2 days, Huang Zhong's side is in the limelight. We have time to delay here. We just need to complete the deal before the day after tomorrow. I don't believe that they can wait until the day after tomorrow to deliver the goods. Why are you so confident that they'll agree to deliver the goods when you're 3 points behind? What if this thing doesn't work out? Let me tell you, I know their psychology better than you, so don't think too much. This matter definitely won't run away. Triangle Eyes said confidently, you two just follow me and do well. Chapter 35:19. Although Triangle Eyes spoke confidently, the hearts of the 2 underlings who came out to work with him were still beating drums. If this business really fails, you'll take all the responsibility when we go back. Boss originally wanted me to take control of this matter. I'll take all the responsibility if there's any problem. Triangle Eyes patted his chest righteously. This was the best opportunity to win people's hearts. If there was trouble, he had to shoulder it himself. If there was a blessing, he should share it with everyone. But if this matter is really done well, you can rest assured that I, third brother, definitely won't take the credit alone. I'll tell boss that this matter couldn't have been done without the 2 of you. You two can rest assured that following third brother will definitely be profitable. Triangle Eyes was the 3rd child in the family, so he liked to call himself third brother in front of people younger than him. This was also a little trick of Triangle Eyes. Because up until now, these 2 brats hadn't been particularly respectful to him, nor had they addressed him respectfully. Now, he was reminding them that they should call him third brother to show respect. Of course, he didn't want them to call him that now. When they couldn't help but call him third brother, it meant that they were sincerely convinced by him. At that time, Triangle Eyes' heart would be like a mirror. He would be able to judge who respected him and who was convinced by him from the way they addressed him. This way, it would be convenient for him to form cliques. The triangular-eyed man was able to make everything go round and round. Naturally, he had extraordinary abilities. Really? The 2 underlings who came out with Triangle Eyes began to hesitate. They didn't dare to believe that Triangle Eyes would really treat them so well. Of course it's true. Triangle Eyes nodded. I've always treated my brothers well. Any brother who has followed me knows what kind of person I am. The 2 seemed to have a certain amount of trust in Triangle Eyes. Their attitudes were also much more relaxed than before. Are you 2 hungry? If you're hungry, just order something to eat. Triangle Eyes smiled. At this time, the 2 ordered hamburgers and casually ate with Triangle Eyes. Although it was just a simple meal, the relationship between the 3 people had unknowingly become much closer. Cho Yun saw all of this. She had to admit that Triangular-Eyed Man was really good at playing with people's hearts. Boss always told us to get the car back the day after tomorrow. Where are we going tonight? After eating, one of them was at a loss again. In this godforsaken place, there is nothing but cars. We can't spend the night here, right? That's right. If we can spend a night here, it will be enough. Another person sighed. Sigh, let's just endure it. Triangle Eyes smiled. Why must we stay here? The port is so big. I'll take you to a lively place to play. It would be a pity if we don't experience the nightlife here. We can't afford this place. We don't have that much money. The stronger lackey said, I've only been to Causeway Bay once. It's a place I've always wanted to visit since I was young. How did you feel after going there? Triangle Eyes asked. There's a lot of people. Triangle Eyes nodded. That's right. Causeway Bay is crowded with foreigners. The port locals love Mong Kok the most. When you play in Mong Kok, you don't know when your body will be covered with saliva. There are also many beautiful women. No one will dislike that place. But Mong Kok is better without Causeway Bay. The other person was a little surprised. Although Mong Kok looks uglier than Causeway Bay, that place is the real activity center of the locals. The nightlife is very rich. It's definitely a place where good and bad people mix together. Triangular Eyes nodded. Pork shops, tea houses, comic shops, fashion shops, singing and drinking places. Everything can coexist peacefully. Everyone can find what they need here. Triangle Eyes sighed. Mong Kok is the most fashionable place in the port. Is it that exaggerated? The two people looked at Triangle Eyes in disbelief. Triangle Eyes nodded and said seriously, they say that Causeway Bay, Tsim Sha Tsui, and Central Circle are fashionable and fashionable. In fact, those places are all imported goods. There's nothing special about them. Mong Kok is the real street fashion in the port. Especially the ladies there. They dress differently from those in Causeway Bay, Tsim Sha Tsui, and Central Circle. There are so many beautiful women in Mong Kok. That's for sure. The beautiful women in the port will definitely come to Mong Kok at least once a week. The flow of fashionable goods in Mong Kok is too fast. If you don't come often, you'll easily fall behind. Triangle Eyes said, that's why I said that there are the most beautiful women in Mong Kok. Wow. The two people were not as experienced as Triangle Eyes. They were instantly in awe of him. Triangle Eyes struck while the iron was hot. Do you know what MK culture is? This is Mong Kok's culture, Mong Kok. Look at the people in the mainland. They all think that Nike and Adidas are trendy. However, no one here wants to wear those things. Those who wear Nike are country bumpkins. Here, it's wavy shoe street. Many brands will produce limited edition shoes jointly launched by different designers. Here, it's those limited edition shoes that are trendy. I'll bring you there. I'll buy a pair for each of you. The two of them instantly had a better impression of Triangle Eyes. In Mong Kok, don't think that those palm-sized and inconspicuous shops are like those in the mainland. They only sell cheap goods. It's completely different from the mainland. For example, Dream in the trendy special district and Gazelle in the mega mall sell alternative fashion at high prices. Triangle Eyes was also interested. For example, Gazelle once sold Louis Vuitton motorcycle helmets. Can you imagine how cool it is? There's also Japanese fashion undercover goods here. Only the people in the port area know that there are good things in Mong Kok. The foreigners who come here are all fooled into going to the women's street. Third brother, after hearing what you said, I feel that if I don't go and take a look, I'll be letting myself down for coming here. De Zhuang no longer had the same attitude towards Triangle Eyes as before. Triangle Eyes was instantly elated when he called Triangle Eyes third brother. Triangle Eyes laughed. I know a good place. There are as many women as you want there. As long as we have the money, we'll definitely be able to let you guys have a good time there. Leave it to me today. Don't worry. Really, third brother? The skinny guy was also excited. He wasn't interested in fashion and other messy things, but he had a soft spot for women. Triangle Eyes knew that anyone in this world would be interested in material things and women. Therefore, as long as he took out these two things, he could easily buy people's hearts. Under Triangle Eyes' glib tongue, De Zhuang and the skinny guy's feelings towards him rose sharply. Although the two of them hadn't reached the point where they would betray De Zhuang for Triangle Eyes' promotion, the two of them would definitely not betray Triangle Eyes. Today, I'll let you guys know that your third brother is definitely not someone who speaks empty words. I'll definitely bring you guys to do what I promised you. Triangle Eyes said seriously. I said that I'll let you guys have fun here for 2 days. I'll definitely let you enjoy yourselves. Third brother, we don't have that much money. The two of them reminded Triangle Eyes again. Triangle Eyes patted his chest. Do you guys think that third brother came to join De Zhuang because he was forced into a dead end, so he doesn't have much money on him? Isn't that the case? The two of them said in unison. Triangle Eyes smiled. Yes, but there's a saying that a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. No matter how poor third brother is, he won't have enough money to have fun with his two younger brothers. So don't worry. Third brother will pay for all the expenses here. You guys can relax and have fun. Thank you, third brother. The two of them said in unison again. This was definitely the happiest they had ever been when they came out to do something. In the past, they had to work hard. After receiving the car, they had to drive back as fast as they could. Moreover, they had to take dark paths and be on tenterhooks. They didn't expect to have such an opportunity to relax and have fun this time. This was definitely something that the two of them had never expected. This was a fortuitous encounter that made them doubt their entire lives. At this moment, the two of them had a good impression of Triangle Eyes. It couldn't be described with a few simple words. Triangle Eyes had already become a big brother that they could confide in. Chapter 35-20. Cho Yun didn't sleep the entire night just to keep an eye on the three bastards. The three of them first visited a few trendy places, then went to the most famous place for supper. They even went to a nightclub until 2 in the morning. Finally, they found a bathhouse to relieve their fatigue. Triangle Eyes was very clear that he had to do this kind of thing well. Otherwise, the money he spent would be wasted. He also found 2 beautiful Hong Kong girls to spend the night with for De Zhuang and Xiao Skinny. Although the expenses for the night were quite large, Triangle Eyes was very satisfied. These 2 guys were already calling him third brother, and were very respectful. This speed was much faster than Triangle Eyes had expected. To be able to get 2 new trusted subordinates so quickly, it was naturally worth celebrating for Triangle Eyes. In fact, this was also a matter of course. De Zhuang and Xiao Skinny were arranged to do this with Triangle Eyes because they didn't get to be by Big Head's side. Big Head would never arrange for his trusted subordinates to do such a thing. De Zhuang and Xiao Shou were originally insignificant people under Big Head's command. They knew very well that they would never be able to do well by Big Head's side. Therefore, when Triangle Eyes suddenly treated them so well, the two of them completely fell into Triangle Eyes' embrace. When they were drinking in the nightclub, Triangle Eyes told the two of them about his glory days. The two of them were shocked when they heard it. Third brother, when you were in your glory days, you were even more powerful than our boss. De Zhuang widened his eyes and said, So you used to be on equal footing with each other? What are you talking about? What do you mean by on equal footing? Third brother's status is obviously higher. Even Big Head had to contact third brother to get rich today. Xiao Skinny added, If it wasn't for a big client like third brother, would Big Head be where he is today? Definitely not. That's true. De Zhuang nodded his head vigorously. That's all in the past. A real man doesn't talk about his past achievements. Even if I was a fierce tiger, I've already fallen into Ping Yang's hands. The triangular-eyed man smiled. In the future, I'll still need your help. De Zhuang and Xiao Shou were flattered. They raised their glasses and toasted with Triangle Eyes. Third brother, your words are really shortening our lifespans. No matter what, you will always be the third brother. In the future, we brothers will definitely listen to third brother and follow him. Third brother, we won't hide it from you. Beside Chief, we brothers are hot-blooded, but we can't get an important position. Skinny shook his head sadly. Triangular-eyed thought to himself, with your IQ and EQ, you want to be put in an important position? Anyone who could become a boss wouldn't put someone as mediocre as you in an important position. That's right, third brother. Chief is surrounded by his cronies. To us, he's just... Forget it, let's not talk about it. Let's drink. De Zhuang seemed to be depressed too. Both of them were obviously the type who felt good about themselves. They thought that they were very capable and had great abilities. However, They weren't valued by Chief at all. Anyone would feel uncomfortable about this. Brothers, with your abilities, you're definitely qualified for a more important position. Triangle Eyes lied without hesitation. Just the serious expression on his face was enough to make the two of them believe him. Our abilities are enough for third brother? Of course. Triangle Eyes nodded. When I first saw you two brothers, I knew that your abilities weren't ordinary. However, I can also see that Chief has no intention of putting you in an important position. At this point, Triangle Eyes laughed bitterly. De Zhuang and Xiao Shou lowered their heads unhappily. Actually, all of us are well aware that boss arranged for you guys to do this with me. That means he doesn't take you guys seriously. Triangle Eyes continued to step on Big Head. I can only say that boss's taste is really ordinary. Just as De Zhuang and Xiao Shou raised their heads in surprise, Triangle Eyes hurriedly said, I know what I said was wrong. After all, Chief helped me when I was in danger. I have to be grateful and repay his kindness. Third brother, we all know that you're a loyal person. Everything you say is an objective view. De Zhuang said, that's true. Chief doesn't take us seriously. It's Chief's loss for not putting you in an important position. I can guarantee that he'll regret it. Triangle Eyes said seriously. Third brother, don't think too highly of us. I'm afraid that we'll disappoint you. Xiao Shou was embarrassed. Triangle Eyes knew that the time had come. The brothers under any boss are divided into factions. I know this. I believe that there are at least 2 very trustworthy and capable people under your chief. Yes, there are. But their standards are nothing compared to third brother. De Zhuang said bluntly. Big Head did have 2 trusted subordinates. Both of them were capable subordinates that they roped in. However, neither of them took De Zhuang and Xiao Shou seriously. This was also the reason why De Zhuang and Xiao Shou were not successful. It was precisely because their own abilities were indeed not good enough for others to take a fancy to. If it weren't for Triangle Eye's current situation, he wouldn't have taken a fancy to these 2. But at this time, it was better than nothing. Triangle Eyes had to train his subordinates little by little. Only then could he have a firm foothold under Big Head's command. Don't worry. As long as I can get a place by Chief's side, I guarantee that the 2 of you will be my right-hand men. They don't know how to appreciate it, but I do. Because they're not Bo Lu, they can't see the 2 of you at all. Third brother. De Zhuang and Xiao Shou were both deeply moved at this moment. I believe that as long as I have the help of the 2 of you, I'll be able to get a place by Chief's side. When the time comes, us brothers will definitely step on the other people's heads. Triangle Eyes drew a huge sweet biscuit for the 2 of them. De Zhuang and Xiao Shou immediately expressed their loyalty. In the future, no matter what third brother needs, just let us know. The 2 of us will go through water and tread on fire without hesitation. We'll definitely be at third brother's beck and call. Then I'll thank the 2 of you here today. I promise that I'll bring the 2 of you to the peak of life. Triangle Eyes finished speaking and drank the wine in his glass. The 2 of them, who had mediocre EQ and IQ, were completely fooled by Triangle Eyes. They really thought that they had met their Bo Lu, and that they were the legendary Bo Lu that was hard to come by. What the triangular-eyed man said now was just a cliché. Once he could really stand firm beside Big Head, he would slowly buy over more people's hearts and gain more capable subordinates. At that time, everything he said tonight would be forgotten completely. Humans were such strange creatures. Their mouths would always be filled with all kinds of lies. Some of the lies would even make the person themselves feel that it was funny, but the person being lied to would never feel it. Drinking and entertainment. After this series of brainwashing, De Zhuang and Xiao Shou were completely obedient to Triangle Eyes. When the 3 of them came out of the bathing and entertainment area, it was already past 10 in the morning the next day. De Zhuang and Xiao Shou both looked tired. The dark circles under their eyes were also very serious. They were in a state where their bodies were completely hollowed out by alcohol and women. They couldn't be blamed for this. They simply didn't have the money to be so extravagant as to let themselves have such a good time. It wasn't easy for them to seize such an opportunity. They definitely had to vent all the energy in their bodies to feel satisfied. Therefore, the two of them practically didn't sleep last night. In the end, when they couldn't squeeze any more energy out of them, they finally fell asleep. Triangular Eye definitely wouldn't take a liking to such an underling. Compared to those underlings who had followed him to Guchin Island in the past, Triangular Eyed was a far cry. Triangular Eyed was definitely a useless guy who could play like this when he came out to do business. Triangle Eyes actually felt a little disappointed. Although he already knew that these two guys were useless, this was probably the mentality that was inevitable after obtaining them. When he didn't have underlings, Triangle Eyes wasn't picky. But now that he had them, he naturally felt particularly helpless when he saw this kind of trash. Two good-for-nothings. Triangle Eyes didn't know if they could really be used at a critical moment. He could only hope. Chapter 35-21. In the hotel in Huangjiang, Su Yun and the others could only order takeout and eat in the room. Team Leader 2 was almost suffocated by this. What if that guy's car is really checked halfway? How are we going to intervene then? If the car is really checked, we can't intervene. Even if we intervene, we can't prove that Big Head is the mastermind. Su Yun shook his head. When the time comes, Big Head will be able to shirk all responsibility. He will be able to easily get rid of all of this. Xiao Lu also frowned. So we can only catch the bastard who ran here from Qingdao? If we only catch him, it's meaningless. If we only catch him, we would have done it on Qingdao. We wouldn't have waited until now. Su Yun shook his head. Since we've already come this far, we have to get Big Head involved as well. Actually, you don't have to worry so much, Huazi said faintly. Huazi said faintly, the guy who came to Big Head is definitely not an ordinary drug dealer. He was able to come here and be trusted to pick up a batch of goods alone. Obviously, he used to be a famous guy, at least in this line of business. Su Yun nodded in agreement. I think so too. That guy's sense of smell must be very sharp and he must be very experienced. Then we can only wait. Team Leader 2 took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. Let's wait and see. Cho Yun is still keeping an eye on the target. Su Yun, they haven't come back with the car yet. There must be something wrong. Once they're ready to come back, Cho Yun will inform us immediately. Xiao Lu stretched. It's too uncomfortable to stay in the room all day. I just want to go out for a walk. If Big Head or Big Head's people recognize you, you'll be in trouble. Team Leader 2 glanced at Xiao Lu. Xiao Lu scratched his head. I'm just saying. Because it was too boring, Xiao Lu wanted to play with Blackhead. However, before his hand could touch Blackhead's head, Blackhead's throat let out a warning whimper. Xiao Lu was so scared that he quickly took his hand back and said helplessly, Blackhead, we've known each other for so long. You don't have to be so wary of me. I'm also a good person. I'm a police officer. Like you, I catch criminals. Our ancestor is the same person. Patriarch. Huazi was stunned for a moment. He looked at Xiao Lu in confusion. This guy was trying to worm his way into being friends with a dog. He even made up a story about the ancestor. Lin Zexu, Xiao Lu said seriously. Huazi was instantly speechless. You really know how to make things up. Little Lu chuckled foolishly. Blackhead, I'm telling the truth. We're all from the same ancestor. You don't have to be so polite. Just let me touch you. I won't hurt you. I advise you not to touch it, Huazi said. Blackhead doesn't have a good impression of people who don't have much patience in the mission. You just said that you couldn't hold it in the hotel. He heard it. Your current score is not high in his heart. Xiao Lu smiled bitterly. Little Lu laughed bitterly. Blackhead, Blackhead, you've almost become a spirit. You've even learned how to rate people. All right, I admit my mistake. I said the wrong thing just now. I'm sorry. I should have been more patient in this mission. I'll sincerely repent for my words and actions. However, Blackhead completely ignored Xiao Lu. He was probably thinking about what the ancestor was and who Lin Zexu was. Lin Zexu, an ignorant hero full of controversy. Su Yun smiled slightly. You don't say. In the future, the Drug Enforcement Police can really burn incense for him. Why do you say he's ignorant? Xiao Lu glanced at Su Yun. In fact, Lin Zexu was really his idol. When he was in school, he felt that this character was really not simple. He had courage. He burned countless opium just like that. If it weren't for his actions, perhaps the entire Huaxia would be heavy smokers now. This may be because he didn't investigate the reasons for the prevalence of opium in Huaxia and the channels and routes of its inflow. He also didn't investigate the strong national background of the English merchants who trafficked in opium. He didn't seriously evaluate the serious international repercussions after the smoking ban and the possible trouble it might cause to the country. Su Yun added, he slammed the table and made a decision as soon as he took office. It was too arbitrary. He directly implemented the iron fist policy of punishing domestic and overseas drug traffickers. But this kind of tough approach was right. He seized the opium from the English merchants and directly destroyed it all at Tiger Gate Beach. How domineering! Xiao Lu said with admiration. It's a pity that at that time, Imperial Envoy Lin thought that as long as the opium on the market was eliminated, he would be able to get rid of the opium traffickers entrenched in the deep and coastal waters. He would also be able to eradicate the scourge of opium to the Celestial Empire for hundreds of years in one fell swoop. In the end, the result proved that it was the opposite of what he wanted. Su Yun smiled. Of course, he's still a hero in my heart. It's just that the decision at that time shouldn't have been so arbitrary. Perhaps the result would have been better. Team Leader 2 also nodded. Yes, this matter caused the English to use their strong ships and cannons to destroy the Celestial Empire's national gate in one fell swoop. In the end, they forced the Qing dynasty to open their 5 trading ports. They ceded land and paid reparations, lost their rights, and humiliated the country. They also made a treaty, completely according to the requirements of the English. In the treaty, the trade of opium was legal. As a result, among the imported goods of the Qing dynasty, the value of opium was as high as 60% of the imported goods. Anyway, let's look at both sides of this matter. Su Yun, there are good and there are bad. At least our country needs people like this. It would be better if they could consider things more thoroughly. Yes, that's right. Huazi also nodded. Although Blackhead didn't understand, he still followed and barked twice. Xiao Lu didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he looked at Blackhead. Why are you joining in? It's as if you understand what national integrity is. Blackhead once again warned Xiao Lu, and Xiao Lu quickly shut up. Now he really believed that this dog was a guy that could understand human language. There was simply nothing that it didn't know. Although it was impossible for Blackhead to really understand everyone's words, one thing was certain: Blackhead could distinguish between good and bad words about it. Xiao Lu, you don't have to worry. I believe that big head won't give him so much time. This batch of goods will definitely be brought inland soon. Su Yun, what we need to do now is to conserve our energy. Whenever we receive a call from Cho Yun, we must ensure that we have sufficient energy. Xiao Lu's expression also became serious. Yes, Chairman Su, don't worry. This time, the two of us are here to handle this matter beautifully. Team Leader 2 also nodded and said, we will listen to your arrangements and orders for everything. Director Chan told me many times that we must do as you say. He said that as long as we follow your orders, this matter will definitely not go wrong. Director Chan is flattering me again. I'm under too much pressure. Su Yun smiled to ease the atmosphere. If there is really a mistake, I will have to bear the responsibility. Director Chan is too biased towards you. Everyone knew that it was a joke and laughed. Chairman Su, we really have to thank you for this matter. Team Leader 2 also became serious after laughing. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to investigate this matter so deeply. Xiao Lu also nodded vigorously. Yes, yes. Chairman Su, you are really too amazing. Do you know that if this matter is solved, the credit will be really huge? Brother Tu and I will definitely get the honor. Team Leader Tu glared at Xiao Lu. This honor is really given to you. Aren't you embarrassed to ask for it? This is all due to Chairman Su's efforts. No. Su Yun made a prompt decision. If you didn't take the initiative to work overtime late at night to spy on that group of criminals, we wouldn't know each other. I wouldn't even know about this matter and wouldn't have helped. So, all of this is ultimately because of you. Xiao Lu was very excited and happy when he heard this. This honor is yours. Su Yun didn't allow anyone to refuse. And no one deserves this honor more than you. I just happen to be in this matter. Brother Tu, you sacrificed everything for this cause and even sacrificed your own life. I really admire you. Don't say that. Team Leader Tu was embarrassed by Su Yun's words. I just did what I should do. This is my job. My job is to do these things. If I don't do these things, how can I accept the salary that the country gives me? Chapter 35-22. Right now, the whole thing was at a standstill. As long as Triangle Eyes didn't bring back the 3 water carts with the goods, everything could only wait. However, Triangle Eyes was an experienced driver and wasn't worried about this at all. After playing the whole night, he brought De Zhuang and Xiao Shou to eat a sumptuous lunch. To be exact, it wasn't just one meal, it should be multiple meals. Although Hong Kong and Macau were palm-sized places, there was a lot of good food. Proper Chinese food and Hong Kong food were definitely not to be missed. Triangle Eyes spent a lot of money to tame these 2 people, but he knew that as long as it was done now, it wouldn't be a problem to let these 2 guys block knives for him when he returned. After all, if he wanted to mingle under Big Head, he needed to be on guard against both open and covert attacks. At this time, it was best if someone could block for him. Although these 2 people weren't very capable and intelligent trash, they were indeed the best choice to block knives for him. Triangle Eyes obviously didn't care about the small amount of money he spent now for his own future. The fried crab at Beefing Tang was definitely very famous. People who came here to play definitely wouldn't miss it, especially the spicy crab seafood restaurant under the bridge. The price also rose and became more and more expensive, but it was always in short supply. Moreover, the oyster porridge and the urine shrimp here were very good. Then Triangle Eyes took them to Long King Xian, He Hongji and other places. The 3 of them spent the whole day eating and drinking. Of course, they didn't miss Li Yuan. The local Li Yuan service was definitely better than Shenzhong Li Yuan's, and the materials used were also better. Of course, this came from Chou Yun. Chou Yun had been to Shenzhong Li Yuan before. This time, in order to follow Triangle Eyes, she also came here to eat her favorite ice and fire 3-layer meat and shrimp balls. Finally, when the sky was about to darken, Triangle Eyes received a call from Big Head. This call was definitely filled with questions. Big Head's first sentence was a thunderous rage. Actually, Big Head understood Triangle Eyes' way of doing things, but he still had to show the aura of a boss. I wanted you to guarantee that you would get the goods and negotiate the price. What's the situation now? You don't plan on letting me get the goods? Big Head angrily roared. You left when the price couldn't be negotiated? Tell me where you went. Don't tell me you think you can get it done just like that. Chief, don't worry. I promise to get the goods and bring them back safely. Triangle Eyes was very calm, as if he was talking about a very easy thing. What's the use of your guarantee? Big Head still didn't stop his temper. I'm telling you, if you can't handle this batch of goods, don't come back to see me. The corner of the triangular-eyed man's mouth revealed a cold smile. Big Head's attitude towards him made him even more determined to overthrow him sooner or later. Okay. Remember, I don't want you to take action with your words. I want you to settle the matter with your actions. Big Head said, "It will be safe here tomorrow. You have to get the goods back before 12 o'clock tomorrow night. I have already promised to deliver the goods to several bosses. If we don't have the goods by then, you know the consequences." Understood. The triangular-eyed man maintained his low posture. "Please rest assured, Chief. I will definitely not waste any time. There won't be any delays. I'll believe you this once. Just this once." Big Head felt that it was good to put more pressure on him. After hanging up the phone, the triangular-eyed man's mood was still calm. He had already accepted his current status, so naturally, he could also accept everything that would come with this status. If he was the boss, he would also put pressure on his subordinates. Dazhuang and Skinny had been listening to the phone call the whole time. Now, their hearts instantly lost their confidence. Although they had a good time last night and today, when they thought of the unfinished business, the two of them instantly became terrified. "Third brother, what should we do now?" The two of them knew Big Head's temper. If this matter couldn't be settled, it wouldn't end well for them when they returned. Although the two of them could now wholeheartedly believe in the triangular-eyed man and were willing to work for him in the future and be his underlings, in this business, their hearts were still on Big Head. They would definitely not betray him. Big Head was so loyal to the triangular-eyed man, so he wasn't afraid that the triangular-eyed man would play tricks on him. He wasn't worried at all that the triangular-eyed man would take the two of them and the batch of goods midway to make a fortune because the two of them wouldn't dare to betray him. Their families were under Big Head's surveillance. If the two of them didn't keep an eye on the triangular-eyed man and betrayed him with him, the consequences would be absolutely unimaginable. The triangular-eyed man understood this from the beginning, so he didn't even have the extravagant hope of embezzling this batch of goods and looking for another foothold. Dazhuang and Skinny might have average intelligence, but their fighting skills were definitely not weak. At least, they wouldn't have a problem dealing with the triangular-eyed man. Under this kind of emotional pressure from both sides, the two of them felt especially uncomfortable. "We have nothing to worry about. We'll definitely get this batch of goods." The triangular-eyed man smiled slightly. "But what Chief said on the phone just now, how do you think Chief always knows about our situation? I didn't tell him that we left without discussing the price." The triangular-eyed man interrupted Dazhuang. "Did you report to him? Or you?" He glanced at Dazhuang and Skinny separately. The two of them shook their heads vigorously. "No, we promised that we definitely didn't say anything." "That's right." The triangular-eyed man smiled. "We didn't report our situation to him." "How did he know about our situation? Do you still need me to explain this to you?" "Oh, I know." Skinny was the first to react. "The seller contacted Chief and told him about our situation." The triangular-eyed man nodded and said with satisfaction, "That's right. That guy must have contacted Chief yesterday. That's why Chief knew what we did." "What does that mean?" Dazhuang still didn't understand why the triangular-eyed man was so sure that they could get the goods. "Does that mean that we can get the goods?" This doesn't have any connection, right? Doesn't this mean that we can get the goods?" The triangular-eyed man laughed. "You really should use your brain more to think about it." "Ha!" Dazhuang looked at the triangular-eyed man in confusion. "Third brother, don't keep us in suspense. Why do you say that? Hurry up and explain it to me. My brain really doesn't understand the logic behind this." "The logic behind this is very simple." The triangular-eyed man analyzed the situation for the two of them. If the seller could easily sell the goods to someone else, he wouldn't have contacted Chief. This is the best response to us trying to lower the price. As long as he doesn't give us the goods and sells them to someone else, this matter will be over. Dazhuang and Xiao Shou's eyes widened. They had never thought that such a possibility would exist. But he didn't do that. Instead, he called Chief. "What does this mean?" The triangular-eyed man continued. "It means that other than us, no one else can buy such a large amount of goods in one go." He didn't want to waste time and sell them separately. This means that they want to sell the goods as soon as possible and we are the only buyers. At this moment, The two of them finally understood. Why does Chief keep calling me to throw a tantrum? Why doesn't he tell me that he has already paid and let us pick up the goods tomorrow? The triangular-eyed man smiled slightly. It means that Chief understands from the other party's phone call that the seller can only sell the goods to us. Of course, he won't order the goods directly. After all, I have already checked the goods and told him the situation. He could have paid and let us pick up the goods. Dazhuang nodded vigorously. That's right. But Chief didn't do that. Boss still hopes that we can push down the price and negotiate the price before paying. The triangular-eyed man nodded. Yes, that's the logic. Do you understand now? Let me tell you, remember to use your brains when you do things in the future. Don't just look at the surface. Look at the essence through the surface. The two of them nodded vigorously. Their heads were like rattle drums. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.